Why are you staring at me?
You fools. You fools. I'm here for respect. I'm here for an apology. Because not only did you guys laugh in my face with people watching, you slapped me in my face. Right?
I slapped you in your face?
Physically assaulted me.
There's no footage of this.
When all I said was, they have a chance. All I said was, the door is open. I was laughed off this set. Ha, 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 ha. We're up 2-0. We're up 2-0 because you guys were like, oh, that game one win, it means absolutely nothing, all this other stuff. And here we are. The New York Knicks are up 2-0. Job's not finished, job's not done. We still have a long way to go, right? But we're going back home. And this is where we shine. And all I said was that we had a chance. You smacked your teeth. All of that, said this was nonsense, said this was insane. All of this, like I was crazy. Like I was a madman. And all of a sudden, once again, the Boston Celtics, another 20-point loss, another 20-point lead blown. And man, it feels so good. It feels so good.
Yeah. So my favorite thing in the world
We're here.
is to make fun of the New York Knicks as a proxy making fun of you.
And you can't do that today.
Everyone knows the one thing I will do in front of this mic before, above all else, above all logic, is rage bait Donovan. I will never miss an opportunity to make you mad on purpose.
But what's your favorite thing in the world to do?
Laughing at the goddamn Boston Celtics. Here we are. We thought the driving force of this TD3 world would be laughing at Donovan. Today, the driving force is laughing at the Boston Celtics. It's a win-win situation for us. We're going to laugh at somebody.
We can never lose.
He gets to be happy. We got to give it to him. Like you guys see by the title, this episode is going to be all about, for the second half of the show, kind of doing a goodbye to all the playoff losers that lost this playoff run in the first round specifically. We're going to talk about how to fix every single team that lost in the first round, kind of highlight their flaws that led to their demise in that round, and talk about what they can do to put themselves in a better position next year. But before we do that, before we get to the main part of this show, we got to talk about all the second round series that have begun, starting with the Knicks versus Celtics. Got to get into the OKC series, the Pacers series, the Warriors series, all of them. We'll give Donovan his time to shine, his time to rub the success, I guess, of the New York Knicks in our face. Yeah, man, cue the intro music. We got a lot to talk about.
The cranium is crazy. Oh my god.
I mean, I really don't know what to say.
Crayon eaters rejoice.
All right, man, so let's talk about the Knicks first. Obviously, none of us, even the Knicks fan coming into the series, expected the Knicks to be able to have a chance to upset the Boston Celtics. All year, I think we were pretty high-ish on the Knicks, right? We were respecting them for being a really good team. We just said being really good doesn't matter when the Boston Celtics defending champs are right there and seemingly on paper are the kryptonite for everything you want to do. If you ever imagined a team that was built to beat a team that's led by a small guard and a stretch five that is lethal but not great defensively, to say the least, you would pinpoint a team like the Celtics who have 5 switchable defenders, elite spacing, elite forwards that can attack the big and the small in that equation. On paper, everything makes sense for the Celtics to just get the Knicks out of here and end the season that started with them giving up 1 million first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, giving up their depth for Karl-Anthony Towns. It seemed like it was for naught because the Boston Celtics were everything that they are not in the best way. But here we are. Your team is up 2-0.
Here we are.
How do you feel? How do you feel defying the odds?
I will say this. So coming into the series, I probably would have been, like, if we had made official predictions, because I don't think we had a chance to officially predict this series because of, scheduling stuff. And so I probably would have picked the Celtics. Even though that I'm obviously rooting for the Knicks, want them to win. The one thing that I couldn't talk myself, like if this was last year's team, I would have been able to talk myself into being like, yeah, they could do it. You know why? They got that dog in them.
Yes.
And as great as the offense was this year, and all the pieces were gelling together, the one thing that a lot of Knicks fans were saying is like, this team is just missing that dog from last year. In the first 2 games, the dog is here.
A lot of it.
It's unlimited dog. And the fact that for the second straight game, you have a 20-point deficit in the third quarter. Last time it was like midway through the third. It was about 2.5 minutes left where the 20-point lead was still there. And all of a sudden, 3 after 3 after 3, you get down to 12. And you look up and you're like, whoa now. This is a game. Whoa now. Like,
You get a little accent with that cowboy.
That's what I'm saying.
Whoa now, Nessie.
Whoa now. And you just keep seeing the Knicks make play after play after play. And you look up and the number one thing that if you are a Knicks fan or if you're in the Knicks building, that you are telling yourself going into these games is give yourself an opportunity at the end of the game. If it's 4 points, 5 points, whatever, we just need to get into a clutch situation, and we will let clutch player of the year, my captain, right, Jalen Brunson, we'll let him take over. And the interesting part about yesterday is he didn't even have a crazy game. Jalen Brunson didn't even do the Jalen Brunson things. Now, he did have some clutch shots down the stretch of the game, but this was about Karl-Anthony Towns showing up big time in the first half. This is about Mikal Bridges, who every other week is either overpaid or undervalued in terms of like, I can't believe we gave 5 first-round picks for Mikal. And then he'll go do stuff like he did in game 1 and have a save like he did in game 2. And it's like, 5 first-round picks? Man, we don't care about that. It shifts back and forth. And so his performance in the fourth quarter and the second half was amazing. And Mitchell Robinson, who apparently is just Joe Mazzulla's just nightmare. He's just like, I just can't see him on the floor. It's a combination of all of that coming together. And now the New York Knicks up 2-0, going back home. I debated buying tickets for game 3. In the 2 to 7 minutes that I was doing it, prices went up $200.
Oh, hell no.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to wait. But I did make a deal with my father and with my uncle. And if they make the conference finals, we're going to the game. We're going to one of the games at the Garden.
If they make the finals, we will do a podcast from outside Madison Square Garden. I guarantee. We'll figure out a way.
100%.
HOH will make it happen, I'm sure. We will do a podcast in New York City if they make the finals. I guarantee it.
And I'm saying all of this stuff to give the salute. But man, does it feel good to watch the Celtics crumble. It feels so good to watch them do the things like, at least for me, at the most opportune time. Yeah. All of their weaknesses, all of the talking points of you take too many threes, Jason Tatum, you're not getting to the basket. This team has to figure out, different ways to win, all this other stuff. Joe Mazzulla coaching narratives are being brought up again. Man, it feels like 2022 when they were choking away in conference finals, and it feels great for me right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So, 2 sides of this, right? Mm-hmm. For every collapse that happens, there has to be a team that collapses, and there's probably a big reason why they are self-inflicted wounds. Mm-hmm. To blow a 20-point lead, you have to really shit yourself. Twice in a row, you have to unmatched level of defecation to blow 2 20-point leads 2 games in a row against an inferior team to you.
Drinking laxatives for lunch.
Crazy beans everywhere, gassy. But on the other hand, the other team has to come back too, right? It works both ways. So let's start off by giving the Knicks their props before I get into all the reasons why the Boston Celtics deserve nothing but hate. The Knicks came into the series. The big reason why none of us believed in them was defense. We knew they were good offense. There's obviously the defensive side of the ball for the Celtics where they're obviously great too. And that didn't help that they had a great defense that could seemingly slow down Brunson at times. But the biggest reason we didn't believe in the Knicks wasn't that. It was because we thought there was no way in hell they'd be able to defend this Boston Celtics team, right? Because we know a drop coverage with Karl-Anthony Towns at center is cooked. It's toast. That has been the case for this series too. But the one thing we talked about during the regular season that could be an X factor, we just have to wait and see, is what it looks like when Mitchell Robinson comes back fully healthy and plays next to Karl-Anthony Towns, putting him back at power forward, where he's at his best defensively. That has been so much better of a look. They're switching a lot more too, which has been a big reason for the Boston Celtics struggles. Part of it is they're missing shots, which we'll get to, but part of it is the Knicks have been dead set on not letting them drive at all and get into rotation and be able to create these open catch and shoot threes, right? Normally it's not just we run a pick and roll and hoist a three. It's we're going to create a paint touch every time because Jaylen Brown is faster than you, KP's bigger than you, Jason Tatum can get to his spots. You're going to have to help, and we're going to swing the ball every time and create a three. Their switching defense has been so unforeseenly good. Mm-hmm. Nobody expected them to be able to man up this well, switching their bigs onto their wings with zero hesitation, switching Jalen Brunson off the wings with zero hesitation, and staying in front of the Boston Celtics. Why don't they get to the rim? The Knicks aren't letting them. That part has been Knicks are playing really good defense, and they are bringing out defensive looks that Tom Thibodeau clearly saved for the playoffs with the double bigs and the increased switching. Part of it is the Celtics melting down. Part of it is the Knicks are making them fall into their worst habits. So shout out them. Their defense deserves so much props.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that most people have, especially Boston Celtics fans, is like, oh my God, they just continuously like keep on spamming threes. And what people aren't like really realizing is that they're showing so many hands and bodies in the paint. And like you said, you put it in the best way possible. Like they're making them fall into their worst habits. And it's been like, I guess the word that you said of the week is amplified. This is what's happening literally to Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. Now, something I will say, again, we're going to stick to the Knicks for a little bit longer. the Celtics are dealing with real issues, but so are the New York Knicks. Like, you've been, since the day one of the season, pretty much maybe a week after Karl-Anthony Towns is traded, you were, of course, like, feeling all types of ways, but then you moved on and you're like, okay, like, this is going to be the matchup of the year for us. How well do we face off against these guys? You're not worried about the Cavs necessarily. You don't care about the Pacers. Like, this is the biggest thing in front of your road of a championship. And you're worried about the Karl-Anthony Towns of the world at the time period. Like you said, like, Mitchell Robinson has made like all the changes in the world with his ability to switch. I'm so impressed with the fact that, okay, like, you guys got out rebounded on the offensive board, especially. You guys had, I think, one less turnover, or maybe one more turnover than the Boston Celtics. You guys also didn't even attempt more shots than the Boston Celtics. This is, again, we said this on a TD3 stream on a Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. That was a generational collapse. Game 1. Game 2 was the exact same thing, but it feels like even worse because Jalen Brunson was literally even worse. He scored like 9 points in the fourth quarter. The rest of the game, he was not up to much, but just trying to keep things afloat.
Yeah. Shout out the Knicks, right? Shout out the Knicks. Defensively, they've done so much better than we thought they would do.
Look at this. Locking him up. This is the second straight year. For the second straight year, Mitchell Robinson has come in and changed the series. Last year in the first round against Philly, Hartenstein could not stay in front of Embiid. He could not hold him. He was getting into foul trouble a lot. And the times where Joel Embiid had the most trouble and had the most discomfort getting to his spots was whenever Mitchell Robinson was right there. And now you still see him coming out, and like Isaac is saying, switching on to Jason Tatum. And even though that Tatum likes to take those step backs, we all know this. Whether you like to take it or not, having a 7'1" or a 7-footer put his hand up and contest that instantly obviously makes it harder. So he's doing that as well. And what we talked about after game 1, which also kind of, put itself into this game, is where's Kristaps Porzingis? Because Porzingis only played 14 minutes. And so you come out, they start Al Horford, and now your big depth is instantly, derailed.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's talk about the Celtics side now. Shout out the Knicks. They've done their job, right? Props to them. We're not trying to diminish their performance at all. The Boston Celtics are a fucking joke right now, and we need to laugh at them and talk about... Actually, maybe that's a bad way to frame it. We need to talk about the realities of their system and their style of play and the downsides that can come with that, right? This whole current NBA playoffs, really the past 2 or 3 years, one of the things we've learned is in the modern NBA, partially because of Celtics and their influence, and I guess the teams that came before that, 3-point variance is the new biggest swing factor in many, many games, right? There's a lot of factors going into basketball, but almost every single series, there's 1 or 2 games that come down to this team shot a lot of threes, missed a lot of threes, other team shot a lot of threes, made a lot of threes. That kind of defines a lot of games, and it's like a baseline before you get to all the other X's and O's sometimes. There's not ever probably in the history of the NBA been a team that is so dependent on 3-point variance as the Boston Celtics, because they've built their entire just top to bottom way they want to play around mastering variance. They said, we are going to take the most threes possible. So in the macro sense, we look across a 90-game sample, however many games we get into the playoffs, we will win more times than we will lose the 3-point variance battle. That works most of the time. We saw it work in the playoffs last year, right? They won that battle more than not. They didn't sweep teams because every series they had 1 or 2 games where they trolled, they missed a lot of threes, and it's hard for them to win in 4. But they won a lot of series in 5 and 6 because 4 times out of 6 they win that battle by making more threes than they miss. That's what we thought in game 1 was going to happen, right? We thought it would be a trolling game. We'll say, okay, this happens. They had a lot of time off, come back. Shit happened again. This is baked into the way they play. They have such an opportunity to collapse and fold by just missing their shots that variance is going to come into play. Human nature will come into play. When you have such a reliance on that and such little desire to break from that, shout out you playing your system. Shout out you sticking your identity. That's all great. But the playoffs are a game of small sample size. It's small sample size to the highest extreme. You can tell yourself you'll win out in the long run no matter what. But if you lose 3 times and your back's against the wall because you got unlucky 3 times, that's just what it is. Now you're on the brink of elimination. This is the downside of what can happen. This is the 2018 Rockets. This can happen. It probably won't happen most series. Most times you'll be right. But sometimes you won't be right and you'll be down 2-0 to a team you should be up, largely because you stuck to your guns and you lost the luck battle.
I'm so happy that you said that, because one we talk, especially on this show, we talk so much about sample size and whether we're critiquing players and being like, you know what, it's been 10 games, but we got to give people, 20 games. Or if somebody's rising heavy, it's like, listen, they've had a great first 2 months of the year. Let's see what happens over a larger sample size. That's not what this is about.
Nope.
That's not what this is about. And again, because y'all was out here, kissing your teeth, you only have to get 4.
Yep.
And the fact that the Knicks already have 2 and they're going back home is extremely key. And what this is reminding me of is obviously another situation that the Boston Celtics were in 2 years ago when they got down 3-0 to the Miami Heat. And these games went fairly similar, where you're at home and the Heat were the very grit and grind team, Heat culture, all that. We just have to get it close because Jimmy Butler is going to carry us over the finish line. And here we are doing that again. Now, I think that it's okay? So the way that the Heat went up 3-0 in that game 3, they embarrassed Boston. I don't think that's going to happen. I would be absolutely shocked if the Boston Celtics came out in game 3 and got beat by 30. I doubt that that's going to happen. And also, these are very, very close games. And while the Knicks are executing, I guess you can look at that sample size argument and say, over at least a 6-game sample size, you can have Jason Tatum, execute at a high level, or Jaylen Brown make a shot at the end of games where if it is going close, you can kind of see it going a different direction.
There's 2 parts to this, though. I started off by mentioning they are just losing that luck battle, right? Of they're playing their game and they're getting the unlucky side of it. That won't happen a lot, but now it's happened twice of them just missing open threes. That's part of it. The part of why they won so easily last year while playing that is Jason Tatum was really good at generating paint touches. His shot wasn't falling last year in the playoff run for a lot of time, but he was really good. Jaylen Brown was healthy, instant paint touch. Drew Holiday was a year younger, probably better. And Kristaps Porzingis was a force when he was there. Now, he wasn't there for a lot of the playoff run, but topping down the roster, they were relying on threes. But the reason they're different than 2018 Rockets, who were even more reliant on threes to like a vanilla degree, is they have a lot of players on the roster that create paint touches and keep the defense in rotation and give you enough inside the arc that the threes are that much harder to guard, right? Jaylen Brown's not fully healthy. He's looked up and down. He's had good flashes, but he's working through a knee injury. Drew Holiday hasn't been quite as effective as he was last year. He had a good game last night, so I don't want to single him out.
He's been better with that.
And Kristaps Porzingis is absolutely not here to the degree he was before. So while the 3-point variance is just part of it is unlucky, you're missing shots, they're lacking the interior stuff that kind of brought it together and made you a little bit less reliant on it. Because we haven't said his name yet. We're waiting to get there clearly. Jason Tatum played the worst game of his fucking past 3 years.
I will say, I am over here out of the 3 of us, for some reason, I am labeled as the Tatum hater.
For some reason.
But whatever it is, I am labeled as that. I will say before we go ahead and get on Tatum shit, which he deserves a lot of it, he did sustain a fucking wrist injury game 1 against the Orlando Magic, and for the first time ever, he missed a playoff game last series. So that's clearly like bothering his shot,
Sure.
and I feel like that's the most untalked about thing so far throughout the entire discourse of this series. But still,
good point.
There is no like massive excuse when it comes to like the decision making and the type of things that he is doing and how he's getting to his
Fair.
spots.
His jumper looks really bad right now. If you want to say it's because of the jump, because that makes sense. Because it looks heinous. He's missing off the backboard to the right. Like it's not even. It looks atrocious right now.
Yeah.
But this is the part that's props to the Knicks. They are making him have a hard time getting to the rim. He does not look like the most explosive athlete one-on-one defeating defenders that he can blow by. He's not creating the paint touches he once did, or he's struggling in that regard, and that's making the house of cards fall. And that's really what it comes down to is all of this stuff can work. You can do this idea we're talking about of winning the math battle, taking the most threes. More often than not, you won't get unlucky. But that only works if your star wings play like star wings, and if Kristaps is the mismatch down low that can give you big minutes so that the three-point shooting gives you the floor and your stars decide the ceiling. The Stars' ceiling right now is in the fucking crater. It's underground. It's buried 6 feet under. They're making this sink just as much. And listen, they got up 20 points in each game. So the things we thought would happen and why they'd be able to blow out the Knicks have happened. They've gotten up 20 points. You don't get 20-point leads without having some clear advantages, some clear mismatches. Exactly. That is hard to do. So we've seen the upside on what they can do, and then we've seen the downside in the floor because the Stars aren't giving you the easy buckets to maintain those leads. They're just relying on these three-pointers that they're getting decent looks. I've seen a lot of people kind of talk about how they're process and saying they're being lazy with it and stuff, they're getting the looks they always get. They always take hard shots and they make them more often than not. I don't even think the process is as different as people are making it seem. The process usually just has Jason Tatum scoring a lot more efficiently than this, Kristaps Porzingis being a lot more impactful down low than this. Without those things, it is strictly luck and not luck plus star talent, and that's why they're so unbeatable.
Game one, I actually think everybody's right in terms of they were taking bad shots and they were getting good shots just because they took 63. Like they took a crazy amount of threes. And so in that, you're going to get a wide variety of shots, right?
That's what they want, right?
Yeah. So everybody's right on that. The thing that is just continuing to be shocking to me is the fact that you have, even though that the Knicks are switching, the fact that Tatum is not just straight taking Mitchell Robinson off the dribble, or he's gotten Brunson on him and has taken a step back rather than really being able to get downhill. That's the part that's been really like, I guess, the most shocking for me, because in the regular season and in times whenever the Celtics have dominated, there's been times when you're just like, we just can't guard them.
Yeah, you can't stay in front of them. Yeah, that's the difference for sure.
You can't stay in front of them. And the fact that they're doing that now, I mean, Tatum, outside of the dunk that he had at the end of the game, where it was literally a 40-yard dash fullback
Open
dive,
field, yeah.
Right? That is what that. Outside of that, he didn't have a layup opportunity. He's taking fadeaways. Yeah. He's taking turnaround jumpers, and that's always been a critique of Tatum, is that he likes to take Kobe system tough jumpers and stuff like that. And unless you're making those at a high level, then it's not really gonna.
The most embarrassing thing from last night's game was that they went 7, damn near 8 minutes in the fourth quarter without getting a singular field goal. Last night in the fourth quarter, they made a total of not 1, not 2, not 3, but a whopping 4 buckets total. That is outrageously embarrassing. And like that goes back to what you guys said about, at the end of the day, like, they're doing what they're doing, as in the role players and Derek Whites of the world, the Payne Pritchards and the Drew Holiday, who had a good game too. But what really helps this team like rise above all else is your star players, and they're just not that. Jaylen Brown is looking really Rodney Stuckey-ish because of his fucking knee. There's nothing you can do about this. Kristaps Porzingis, God knows what he has. He might have tape on him. Who the fuck knows what's going on? And then Jason Tatum, again, wrist. That's very, very underrated when it comes to talking about him and his stuff. But he's reverting back to a lot of the old tendencies that people really caved in on him about. And when you don't have those guys to help rise above, i.e. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for the most part, this is looking like a really cooked product. And
like, listen, we would talk a lot about the practice of what they're trying to do, right? We can talk a lot about the theory of how they want to play. We've seen it be up. We've seen it be down. End of the day, this is the shot chart. 99% of the game is green. This is their leads they had. This is the theory of what they want to do. It works. This is not a matter of strategy entirely. It's purely execution as well.
It's a matter of dog.
Yeah, like they just executed so fucking poorly end of the day that you see this big green right here.
This looks fake.
It look like this.
You made this.
They just collapsed.
Three lead changes in the entire game.
They just collapsed. And the lead changes were all at the end of the last 2 minutes before the whole thing is green.
Exactly.
So we can talk about how they want to play, and it is inherently high variance. It's what they want to do. It's more so than probably any team in the world. This is what it comes down to, is the execution at the end of the game. They simply choked. Like, it really is as simple as that. If it comes down to, like, if they made 3 of those threes in the fourth quarter, we wouldn't be talking about this because they'd be winning. Same thing for the game one. It's small details in the end of games that decide these things, and they just have not executed in the end. Like, it's really that simple.
And now they're going on the road. And obviously, listen, they're champions, right? They're not first year players. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna be, deer in the headlights. But this is gonna be the craziest environment that I think anybody has seen in a long, long time. Because the Knicks have not been in this position in over 20 years, right?
Don't the Celtics have a better road record than home this year?
Yes, they have.
That's ridiculous.
They've been better on the road.
So we say the series isn't over.
I don't know how it's gonna go though, because it's getting really, really scary. And also because even though that the Celtics, obviously, like, we're harping on them and we're harping on their 3-point variance because that is what they're built on.
Yeah.
The Knicks also haven't shot crazy well from
You're
three
absolutely
either.
right
And
about
so
that.
if you go home and, you know, you have the playoff cliche of like role players shoot better at home and all that type of stuff. If you get a little bit of bump in the Knicks production, there is a scenario where the Knicks can go out and they can match whatever level that you think Boston is going to rise to. And now we're in a situation again where it's last 5 minutes of the game, who's going to execute more. And as we go down further and further into the playoffs, you see that a lot, right? Whenever 3-point variance is either even or it's not really a factor that game, we've seen teams just be able over and over again to either outsmart or out execute teams. And that was the case in round 1 with like the Warriors and the Rockets. We've said that for years about the Nuggets, and the fact that they're, 1-1 with the Thunder right now is the fact that they have a supercomputer and he can process things and he can execute at the end of games. I'm not saying Jalen Brunson's out here making crazy reads because it really is just one-on-one and, Bucky getting to the highest order. But now we're here.
You know what's so impressive too for me? I don't even think the Knicks are like fully at their best yet, because I feel like someone like Karl Anthony Towns still could get even more involved in offense and still could even get much more 3-pointers. Like, he's the best shooting big in the history of the league, and that even feels like
they're not going to feel at their best because they're going against the second best defense in the goddamn league, and that's what it looks like. We're just not seeing the best offense in the goddamn league come to play. So, like, I think we're gonna see the Knicks not look quite as good as the regular season because look at the defense they're playing.
Yeah,
it just matters that the Celtics can carry up their end on the other end too, because the whole reason we felt so good about them is their defense is a lot better than the Knicks offense, and their offense is a lot better than the Knicks defense. Only one of those things have been true. Like, the Knicks aren't scoring super well. That's probably to be expected, right? Because that's the Celtics are still defending well. They just got to score well. Like,
you're right. I agree
really
with that, but that's still not a great answer in my mind for why Cat isn't at least getting up the attempts from the 3-point line.
They're switching. They're switching him on wings.
Here's why. Because Cat operates and thrives on mismatches, right? He's too fast for centers and he's too big for wings. The Celtics have Derek White and Drew Holiday and Tatum. All of their wings are extremely strong. And even though that Al Horford isn't fast, Al Horford is just. And he's the anomaly where it's like, how are you this good at guarding?
Cat was frying him last night.
He was getting fouls, but the and one thing he was making, they were still tough shots. True. And so, and if there's anybody as ready to guard highly skilled offensive bigs, it's Al Horford. And so he,
God, Al Horford.
That's what I'm saying. So in terms of like mismatches, the Celtics do have bodies to where Cat can be kind of nullified, but the aggression that he had early on is something that you do like to see, to where, just like in game 1, where a lot of the Knicks were in foul trouble early on, now, especially because you have Porzingis out, you can get Al Horford into foul trouble. You can get Cornette in the foul trouble and really start putting the pressure, because there were a couple buckets that Cat got where Al just had to let him go because he already had 3 fouls. And so you can get easy opportunities like that.
Shout out to my Dominican king, Al Horford, man.
It's Dominican on Dominican too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah. Wow, bro.
It's just so funny because this series, like we said, the Knicks are guarding them well, doing the smart adjustments that weren't foreseen in the regular season to make them fall into bad habits. But like, so much of this just really comes down to, are the Celtics serious? And are the Celtics going to shoot themselves in the foot some more? Like, I don't even know how to predict the rest of the series, because like, you would think that
I was just about to ask you, what do you guys think is happening?
If anybody's capable of winning 4 in a row after going down 0-2, it's the Celtics. Like,
are you predicting? Do you think Celtics still win the series?
For the sake of injuries that are real life bothering Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, which just nullifies all like room for much error. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to lean the New York Knicks.
I mean, they're up 2-0, so exactly. Matt says they probably win.
Yeah.
But again, if there's any team that's capable of, it's the Celtics. Like, this is such a weird 2-0 where we're very doom and gloom. They were leading for both these games. It's kind of like the first Thunder game. But they did it twice. They got unserious and blew it twice. One more time, and then you have very little margin for error. So, I don't know. Like, they should win on paper still. They are very capable of winning still, but shoulda, coulda, woulda at this point. They only have so many more times to be stupid in the fourth quarter.
Shout out to Joe Mazzulla for not calling a timeout in the fourth quarter when you witness your team go 7 straight minutes without scoring a single point. Love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They should win. They probably fucking won't. Like, they just clearly have given us 0 games in which they've been serious. There's a stat that the last 4 or 5 champions have lost in the second round the next year. We talked a lot early in the year about, or I did especially, that they're vulnerable. We were talking about them versus the Cavs, that we thought the Cavs could beat them. Apparently the Knicks can beat them too. Apparently they're that motherfucking vulnerable. So who knows?
I got the Knicks in 6.
I feel like it probably goes 7, and that makes me think that the Celtics are at home. Maybe that gives them an advantage, but they just lost 2 home games in a row. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah, in my mind, I want to, just because like you have a 2-0 lead, I would love to say Knicks in 5 right now, but this team refuses to take anything easy, and they refuse to make things easy. We are just coming off of a series in the Pistons where all of us is like, they should have won that series in 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they really were in control, or they were in bad positions that they shouldn't have been in, and that series was longer and harder and more physical than it should have been. So I can't sit up here and be like, oh yeah, like they're up 2-0, it's done.
I feel better about it. I would say like I'd feel a lot better if it was like back and forth games the whole time, and we saw the Knicks just like going band for band with them, and like it seemed like it's just clearly they're on the same level. But the nature of this is so goddamn weird, where the Celtics dominate most of the game both times and then just sell. Like, I don't know what to take away from that, because either maybe they keep selling, maybe that's who they are.
There is no other team in the NBA who could do this but the Celtics.
Like,
dominate like this and fumble the last like 30 seconds of the game.
It's
No team
very
can do
similar
this.
to that first OKC versus the Nuggets game. I felt zero worry about that because it happened one time. That happens in game 1 a lot. Is what it is, right? Rust happens and you lose a game that you should have won. Game 2, they came unanswered. They did it again.
This ain't rust. That's what I try to tell y'all. It's not rust. It's who they are.
They did it twice, so
who they are.
I have no fucking clue. We'll see what the Celtics are goddamn made of, because
I just talked myself into it. Knicks in 5. We're going to the finals.
fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
I will see you guys in front of the Garden. We're gonna be live streaming an episode every day ahead of the finals.
You fooled me twice. You can't get fooled again.
Oh, I can't wait. This is amazing. I hate the Celtics.
We're going to take a brief pause from the show because I want to take a second and shout out Coinbase for sponsoring this episode of the show. Coinbase is not only the best and easiest place to get started investing in crypto, it's also the most trusted. It's the only publicly traded crypto exchange. And right now, if you want to get started and try it out, you can get $20 for free Bitcoin when you sign up with promo code 20deep3 or use the link in the description. So once again, shout out Coinbase for coming on this episode. And yeah, man, let's get you back to the show. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 1 came. Similar story to what we're talking about with the Celtics. The Thunder dominated for 43 minutes of the first game. The final 5 minutes, they soiled their pants. Jokic scored like 10 straight points, dominating the paint. And Mark Dagnall had one of the worst just brain farts from a coach to lose a game that we've seen in a long time.
The analytics got the best of him.
He fouled up 3 too much. They snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. They've lost a very losable game. And my God, everybody was ready to come out. You guys should have seen my motherfucking mentions. I am clearly a Thunder fan. It's no secret. I want the Thunder to win. This is clearly my second favorite team. I spent the last 18 months telling you they're going to win a championship. I've been so unbelievably confident in that. And my God, when they lost that game 1, I was getting flooded. Everybody's saying, you're inexperienced. Little boys can't win. We told you the playoffs are for adults. Everyone was ready to call them frauds. Game 2 came out and they won in historic fashion. They scored almost 100 points in the first half. They blew them out by 40. Wire-to-wire domination. I would say this is what we expected to see in Game 1, but it's what we did see in Game 1 for 43 minutes before they soiled their pants. And this was to another level. We talked about on the stream that, okay, you lost Game 1. You sold. Let's see what you do in Game 2. Show us that you have championship DNA. Show us you guys can handle the pressure, that Chet won't miss 2 free throws with the game on the line, that J-Dub won't play so goddamn horrifically, shooting 25% from the field. They answered every single question in this game. They came out on fucking fire.
Shout out to J-Dub, man. We were, over the last, 24 months, we've been somewhat critical, or 12 months. We've been really critical of someone like J-Dub because of what he did during the Mavs series last year. He was a key reason, a part of the reason why they lost. And this game right here, he kind of helped answer some of the major questions we had about him and the legitimacy of him being an actual number 2 option behind Shea.
Yep.
I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me this game compared to last game is seeing how dominant he was going down the hill and how his push crossover and the nuanced things of his game like that were so effective, and he used every ounce and force of his athleticism and speed and acceleration perfectly against these guys. He hounded them like dogs. The Christian Browns of the world, the MPJs, and hell, even Nikola Jokic a couple times down the third and second quarter.
It was beautiful. Yesterday was the full Oklahoma City experience, right? You saw you saw, and I guess like part of the reason why even after game one we were like, it's gonna be okay, is because yes, they collapsed, but the ways that they got up 20, we were still saying their defensive pressure was elite, and that's something that travels every single game, regardless of how their 3-point shot is going. So you saw that every swing opportunity where it's a missed bucket and then we're gonna take it down on the other end, it felt like every single swing moment, momentum shots, all of them went in OKC's favor. And so before you can even look up and get yourself, entrenched into the game, they're already up 14.
Yeah. Look at this nice little chart we have here of the game map. Oh my God! It starts off a little bit of blue. They're in the lead, and it just gets bigger and bigger until the very end.
49 points. Yeah, like the whole story of the first 3-4 games and all of these like semifinals. It's like, hey man, no 20-point lead is safe. And the Thunder was like, bet we're gonna be up by 50. Like, I promise you, we're gonna be safe.
So we talked about game one a lot on stream. I think we did a pretty good breakdown of it, and we talked about the swing factors that OKC need to do to
6
come out and
p.m.
win.
Eastern time. Tap in.
One was J-Dub finished with way too much finesse in that game. All these ugly floaters trying to finish around people. He didn't have the strength that he finished with in round one when he really bullied the Grizzlies. Like, Shea didn't play his best scoring-wise in this first series, and it didn't matter because J-Dub got whatever he wanted in the paint. He came out, like you said, bully ball. He didn't even shoot well from three. I think he made none in this game, but he scored well overall because he was a menace in the paint. He answered the question. The way they guarded Jokic, he got instant post touches in game one because they chose to guard him straight up and kind of do the little too big thing where they have one roaming, but also a lot of straight up post touches. Jokic had his way. In this game, they switched to that strategy for a lot of the game that the Lakers did when they had that regular season win over them, where they had a smaller guy front the post entry passes for Jokic.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, we're going to defend you well and make you beat us one-on-one as a scorer, we said, you're not going to touch the fucking ball. We're going to hound you. We're going to front it. And we're going to make Jamal Murray make some hard passes. And he failed to. They got so many steals in the first half off of that.
That's what the Los Angeles Clippers did last series. That's why they kind of had him for 2 seconds in those first 2 or 3 games. Chris Dunn was so vital for the Los Angeles Clippers. He hounded Nikola Jokic. It was fronting the fuck out of them. And that's why the second that they were able to be like, you know what, Chris Dunn, you're not important. We're going to make you completely useless on the offensive end. The series completely flipped on his head because they didn't have that on-ball pressure anymore. Okay, so you don't have none of those guys.
No one's useless on this end. It's not going to happen over here. And yeah, so they made that hard. They said, we're going to bet that these 4 other players in the court with you cannot handle the pressure of making these tough passes against our hounding defenders. They could not. They also, on that note, we mentioned a lot that this playoffs, everyone's allowed to defend crazy physical. It's been wars. It's been hand-checking is legal again, pretty much. And we said, if that's going to be the case, some people might say Shea's not going to get his free throw. He's in a struggle there because of the physicality. That was the case for a couple games. But we also said, okay, OKC has the best, most physical group of defenders I've ever seen in my goddamn life as an NBA fan. They're going to hound you and they're going to punch you and they're going to disrupt you and get so many steals. And the other team is going to be like, what the fuck? They're fouling me. Well, they're allowing it for every team. They're going to allow it for them too. That's what happened. We had Aaron Gordon on the podium after the game saying Jokic is getting fouled. You're goddamn right he is. So is Shea. So is everybody. They just are the most equipped to take advantage because they have an insane amount of perimeter defenders that are going to punch you in the chin every time.
I was also super impressed and just happy with the way that Shea played last night.
Trust me, I got plenty to say about that.
It was the way Shea played was so in control, and it was so like letting the game come to him. He was picking his spots. He was able to get downhill. You saw a couple of the finishes where you saw the more traditional Shea, where he's creating space on in the mid range. He's getting downhill, contorting his body in weird angles, laying it up really well. A lot of times, and we've seen it plenty of times where player has a bad game. Game 2, they come back, they start forcing, they start taking shots because the physicality is getting to them, where they really just want to impose themselves onto the game. One, the game didn't call for that because OKC got up so quickly in the first quarter, but Shea was just everywhere, and that was a different look from an engine. A lot of times you think of engine, you think of Jokic, Luka. I'm holding the ball every single possession. I'm dictating every single pass. Shea was able to do it in a, okay, I'm gonna go here. This is what it calls for. I'm taking my spot. I'm picking my spot here. I'm picking my spot there. I thought that he played as well as he.
This is the best playoff game of his career. Like pretty easily, I think he played a perfect game. He had like a 95% true shooting, over 30 points, 8 assists. He played so unbelievably well. Game 1. He had a good game. He got to his points, rebounds, assists, but it was clear he wasn't fully comfortable. So they won in spite of, almost won in spite of that in game one. The Nuggets did a fantastic job at helping at the nail and just shrinking the floor and making him not be able to get to his spots comfortably and have to make quick decisions. And they did a really good job doing that and then getting out to the three-point shooters. It looked very much like how the Golden State Warriors defend with Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and all those wings. They help off shooters a lot and then get back and really close the nail so you can't get to the middle of the court. The Nuggets did that really well, and Shea was a little bit stiff. He looked like he fell into ISOs. He saw the lanes disappear and then got into these stale size ups and tried to make something happen. He's talented, so he got to his 30 points, but it wasn't pretty. It wasn't like consistent offense. This game too looked like he's seen that bitch 1,000 times. He came back. It looked like in those 2 days of film study, he had a Sharingan. And he had
the definition of I understand it.
Yeah, he understood it now. He knifed them up so well. The best passing I've ever seen. The fastest decision making. He found ways to get to his spots faster. He anticipated the defense. He attacked the right spots. Got to the free throw line because he knew where they were coming from with the help. It was the perfect game for Shea, and it answered a lot of the questions people had after game one, where they were starting to be like, "Oh, is this a playoff dropper? Is he not going to be able to do his stuff with his physicality?" I think he'll be all right.
The 5 games that we've had where you've even questioned Shea and his playoff, acumen is game 1 in this game where, again, in a bad game still had 30 points, and then round 1 against the Grizzlies where they're up by 50 at every single halftime, and so you're not seeing everything that you need from Shea. And the one game where the Grizzlies actually were in it, they ended up blowing a 30-point lead, and OKC was able to come back. Shea, in the loss last year, averaged 30. Before that, when they were in the play-in, he had a good 2 play-in games, whatever. He, with his style of play and with his ability to just effortlessly get to his spots, he's kind of playoff proof, right? Like I'm not.
If he's playing like this, yeah.
I'm never going to be worried about, is the moment going to get to Shea. That's not it. And so I like going forward. I'm still on OKC to come out this series.
Yeah.
Last night corrected any fear that you had. It should be right now. OKC probably still in 6. You can give Jokic another game just because he's like that, but it's probably going to be an easy 6. Like they're going to go up 3-1 and probably win in 6 that way.
It's hard to play in Denver, so we'll see. Yeah. But I still have faith. You guys know I've been saying it. I think the Thunder are going to win the championship. At the least, me being the most conservative, I said I believe there's 100% chance in my mind they're going to be in the finals. I said one of those teams out east could beat them. They're also great, that being the Celtics and the Cavs. If those motherfuckers are going to lose in round 2,
Knicks or the Cavs.
if those motherfuckers are both going to lose in round 2, I don't know if people are like, the league is so wide open. Yeah, for a OKC Thunder 5-game finals victory to destroy the fucking Pacers, to destroy the Knicks. I think if those 2 teams don't get out, the Thunder see those teams in the finals. If your team gets to the finals, I'll have the utmost respect for them getting there. I'll say it now. I don't care who's healthy. The Thunder will blast the Knicks in the finals.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll say it.
I can't wait.
Now they have to get there. They have to get past Jokic, which is not. I don't think it's as easy as you're saying. I think Jokic is still Jokic. This is their worst case scenario. We'll see how they bounce back at home. It'll be a long series. I'm gonna pick the Thunder still, but they have to see how they respond to Jokic's best game after a brutal loss.
Yeah.
If they get past this series, and if they get past the Warriors, they're blowing the fuck out of whoever's in the finals.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. When it comes to last night's performance,
for their health things, we'll talk about that.
When it comes to last night's performance with the Denver Nuggets, I think it was the least surprising thing to know and to find out, oh shit, like these guys got blasted. I mean, I feel like this damn near happens in every series that they play. They just end up having like one super embarrassing game and they got to go home with the trash bags, rolling to Denver with the trash bags and paper bags over their head. Like it's just what happens almost every time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the adjustments look like and if like whether or not guys like a Christian Braun's going to look more useful, whether how comfortable Jamal Murray looks trying to throw those passes, and also if Nikola Jokic is going to do something or position himself better to receive those passes as well. So when it comes to my final prediction, I'm very torn. I'm very torn
on the winner.
Yes, I'm leaning towards OKC, of course, but
you think it goes 7?
I think it has a strong chance to go 7. Very strong chance to go 7.
I'm torn on the length of the series at this point. I'm not torn on the winner. I'm gonna go down with the ship. You guys can slander me if they find a way to lose. I'm fucking sinking with them if they sink. I think OKC's winning for sure.
I think OKC's winning. I'm not as for sure, but I got them eventually winning in 7.
No, I'm sure. Okay, see, I didn't think Denver was going to be in this round.
Yeah.
Like I thought if it wasn't for the greatest playoff choker, like they probably would have lost in round 1. And
Well, we all thought that series would go 7 though, so it's not that surprising they win a game 7.
not me.
Oh.
I'm surprised that they are in this position because the games that they did win were the key games. Like the Aaron Gordon putback dunk. You have a game 7 where you blow out the Clippers and it's like, I can't believe this effort that they just got to walk in the game 7. And shout out to you, 100%. Like you got game 1 and you put the pressure on OKC. Problem is, I've seen OKC win by 30 points 3 times in 6 games already. They're going to blast so many people in this playoffs. You talked about the Warriors, and maybe we could transition over there. It's like they're gonna go play Minnesota. That series is gonna be really fun. Well, I'm putting the Timberwolves in there just because obviously Steph Curry is hurt now, and that really sucks.
Changes everything. Yeah,
we'll see if Minnesota can capitalize because Minnesota is kind of the same thing as the Boston Celtics. They cannot hit threes either, and so we'll see if they can adjust. But a series between the Thunder and the Wolves, especially if Ant rises or whatever, or Ant against all of those perimeter defenders, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. We all have faith in Thunder still. They have to get it done. They have to show they can execute. They're still relatively unproven, I guess. So it's in the air, but we don't have a problem saying we think they're going to be the team to beat out West still. Time will tell. If there's ever anybody that can make us scared and make our logical predictions fail, it's the best player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic. So we will see.
I agree. Let's talk about the Warriors, man.
In game 1, the Warriors beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? You hear that and you probably think, oh, they got nobody for Curry. Curry went crazy. Jimmy Butler scored, went crazy. They have nobody for him. So-and-so.
I said that Curry's going to have blood all over his hands during T3 live stream on Tuesday.
Turns out he has tears on his hands because he got hurt in a brutal fashion. Brutal fashion for, not to say brutal because he didn't fucking break his leg, but it's brutal in terms of timeline because his team currently, so we'll say, they won game 1. They locked the Minnesota Timberwolves the fuck up. Like Donovan alluded to.
At what cost?
The Timberwolves did have some 3-point shooting stuff that they just missed all their threes, so that doesn't help. But they were so reliant on those threes because the Golden State Warriors defense shackled the paint like they are known to do. Draymond masterclass. Kevon Looney played really well. Jimmy Butler defended really well. They just closed in. The Timberwolves looked like a team that had a week off. They looked insanely rusty, and you have to go against a team as dominant interior as the Golden State Warriors. They had nothing going offensively. So the Warriors won despite not having Steph Curry for over half the game because he suffered a grade 1 left hamstring and will be out for a week, which probably means he'll miss at least game 2 and game 3. And then we'll see from there. We'll see how his recovery goes. But at the very least, he's out for the next 2 games, which muddies things up. If they had lost game 1, it would be, okay, they're absolutely fucked. They're down 1-0 to Timberwolves already, and now they don't have Curry. They're going to go down 3-0. But they won game 1. So things are a little bit in the air because even if they lose both these games, they're only down 1-2. So I don't think they're fully out of it. It's not a nail in the coffin per se, but it's not great. It's not great at all.
I agree. Thank fucking God that they got that win, and it gives them, Steph Curry specifically, more of a cushion to drag out this series. But goddamn, if there's a team in the Western Conference outside of obviously like those other two in OKC and Denver, the Golden State Warriors cannot waste any time much longer because Anthony Edwards is eventually going to be bound for another star-studded superstar like game offensively. Like he only has so many like 0 for 9, 1 for 7 3-point games in him left in this series.
They might be cooked.
The Warriors?
I think so.
Yeah, depends on what he's out for.
Just because like not only is Steph hurt, but Jimmy, how healthy is Jimmy? Right? They're gonna have to get some wild Jimmy performance because by the time Steph got hurt, Draymond had 4 threes in the first half, and it's like, okay,
Kill me now, bro.
Yeah, like that's gonna happen. I'm so happy that we've gotten the Buddy Hield experience. We've seen this movie before. How much longer do you think that you can rely on Buddy Hield? And so now, going into game 2, going into game 3, where the Warriors, honestly, since they opened up Chase Center, haven't been as dominant as at home as they were whenever they were in Oakland at Oracle. It doesn't feel as impossible as
All those goddamn tech managers in there not cheering loud, not putting on their t-shirts.
Don't get me started on the t-shirts, man. Listen,
I don't want to. I don't want to get started.
Real quick, shout out to OKC. Shout out to Minnesota. Y'all be putting on the t-shirts. I really appreciate that. It makes the vibe great. Them dudes in San Francisco, they think they're too cool to, wearing their aloe to put on the t-shirts. I don't like that.
Yeah, honestly, there's not much to say right now. It really comes down to how long Steph Curry's out and are the Timberwolves going to be serious? They've played the last 2 games. Game 5, I guess it was, against the Lakers, and they eliminated them. They weren't serious. They should have beat the Lakers by goddamn 40 with how bad the Lakers played, but the Timberwolves also missed all their shots in that game. So it's 2 games in a row now. They have played piss poor offensively, led by Anthony Edwards, not getting into the paint, missing a lot of layups, not playing his best basketball against a defense here. This time is really good, so I think it's possibly sustainable that the Warriors are just really good at defending a slasher like that. We'll see. They have to win game 2 and 3. If they don't win in convincing fashion with Steph Curry out, that is a fucking atrocious sign. That'll be one of probably the second most disappointing thing to happen this postseason outside of like the Boston Celtics blunder to me.
Yeah, I think one thing to look for in these next 2 games that is going to be very, very interesting. When we were talking about the Wolves against the Lakers, from game 1, we were like, yo, Anthony Edwards, his decision making is up on another level. And he was very, very crisp. And even though that he, especially in game 1, even though that he wasn't scoring like 35, it was okay because he's moving the ball. All the passes that he was making led to really, really good actions. Golden State, I feel like they've been able to kind of get him to revert a little bit. And so now you're getting back to Anthony Edwards, mediocre decision making. If he can get back to making the right play and making better passes to get everybody else in position to force Golden State to rotate, and now you're getting good threes, that you need that right. Anthony Edwards.
What did I tell you on stream when you guys were saying that there's no chance the Warriors win? I was like, I'll pick the Timberwolves, but I don't think there's no chance because in that Lakers series, the small ball defense worked at times. It just didn't work for the whole game because the Lakers defenders ran out of juice and they're just not that good. But the idea of running the small ball frenzied unit that has the mobility to defend Ant with switches and to get under Rudy Gobert because he doesn't have the lower body strength to make them pay for different spurts, that idea of that type of defense worked. Ant didn't have the most dominant interior scoring for a lot of those early games. He cooked in the late game whenever Rui and DFS had nothing going for them anymore. And we said, who does that way fucking better because they have the best defender of his generation at playing that style? The Golden State Warriors. So I think it's no coincidence that they look bad offensively, and I think the Ant stuff is directly tied to that. Mm-hmm. The Lakers had no ability to guard him late game. The Golden State Warriors are perfectly suited to see the parts that worked and do that and not run out of juice because they have actual personnel to do that well. So I kind of anticipate that'll continue to be a strength of the Warriors. It'll just be, do they have the juice offensively to keep up? Because the Timberwolves defense, even with Curry, should be able to defend them extremely well. And that's why we picked the Timberwolves, is that on the other end, we think even if the Timberwolves are slowed down, their defense can win them this series. That shit better happen if no Steph Curry's there. You better be able to clamp them the fuck up or you guys have a rude awakening coming.
I agree with you. Now, I will say I did believe in the Warriors a little bit more than what you just said. But at the end of the day, I did lean towards the Minnesota Timberwolves for the simple fact that I don't know how impressive Jimmy Butler is going to be, like we alluded to earlier. And I think this is why, times like this is why and when they traded for Jimmy Butler.
I heard, if I ever say y'all have a hyperbolic stance and we're talking about somebody saying something is absolutely going to happen, just know I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the other guy.
What did I say?
You're right. He did say that shit.
What did I say?
You are that dude when it comes to leaning 100% one way and just thinking it's fucking over.
I'm sorry. I'm confident in my pick.
No.
I'm sorry that you said the Lakers are going to win in 5 last series, bro. They got that ass bounced.
And then he said the Timberwolves in 5. But no, we agree. We agree. But I'm not to say you were wrong. We agree the Timberwolves are going to win the series.
My bad for not being a fence sitter. I'm out here making picks.
No, I'm just saying we agree. Timberwolves. We're on the Timberwolves. We just think it'll be a longer series where the Warriors have stuff going for them, and I think this game showed why that's the case. But listen, if Steph Curry's gonna be out, you might end up being fucking right because he might not have the juice. Time will tell.
Yeah, sad stuff, man. Sad stuff.
What if they go down 0-2? That'd be crazy.
That would be embarrassing.
That would be even worse than what's happening in Boston.
Yeah, they don't have Steph Curry. It'd be way worse.
No, it would be because Steph played like 13 minutes in game one. Like
He was fucking their ass up too in those 13 minutes that he played.
he was killing. He was killing.
Last playoff series to talk about before we move on to
Oh my god.
talking about the teams that lost. Pacers versus Cavs.
This is even more depressing.
Shout out to you because you said it because no Mobley, no Garland, no DeAndre Hunter in game 2. Isaac said if the Cavs are gonna win, Donovan Mitchell needs to score 50. He scored 48 and lost by 1. They needed 50 points from Donovan Mitchell to win by 1.
TD3 Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern
You're
time.
not going to get that analysis anywhere else.
You're telling
to be so
He was
on the
fucking
nose
trolling,
was
too.
crazy.
No, yeah, there's not much to say about the series, right? It's just fucking unfortunate. The Cavs have their best regular season in NBA history, and they lose 2 All-Stars to injury. It's not just they're losing missing players here and there. Everybody misses players. You're not ever fully healthy. They're down 2 All-Stars. It is insanely unfortunate. Like, all that work, all that time of them defending themselves and their style of play and whether or not they can win at the highest level, and they don't have a chance. They're down 0-2 now because Tyrese Halliburton just stabbed them directly in the heart with a game-winning 3. They probably should have won that game. They also folded a big lead in that game. It looked like they were going to do the thing you're mentioning where Donovan Mitchell carries them to the victory. And then they folded because they were undermanned, and Tyrese Halliburton hits the game-winning 3. They don't get 50 from Donovan Mitchell. They get 48 and lose by 1. Damn. If Garland and Mobley come back next game, then sure, we could say, okay, they have the personnel, they have the talent. We thought they could win in 5 before. They could come back and win now. We have so much unknown around those guys and when they'll be back. I don't know how to feel optimistic about this team right now.
You can't. You feel better about Boston coming back against New York just because, one, they're the defending champs. You know their personnel and them being as high. The potential of Boston is like top tier. We talked about even the 24 team all-time stuff. Being down 2-0, going back to Indiana, that's tough. And I thought that, before the series, I thought Indiana had enough answers. And I thought that they had enough juice, especially with the way, and we talked about it on Tuesday, with the way that Nembhard is stepping up. I thought that they can make it a series. If you give them 2 games, Cleveland's they're not going to win this series. Even if Mobley and Garland come back, I don't think that they beat Indiana 4 out of the next 5, even if they're fully healthy.
I don't know if I can say that. Right now, it's just so hard for me to have a conversation about the Cavs.
Yeah.
When you're missing your all-star, and a defensive player in year, and Evan Mobley, and then you're also missing on top of that too, one of the best trades that was made midway into the NBA season, and DeAndre Hunter, who was one of the 6 man of the year leading candidates. Like, it's just so hard to. How can I expect you to win when you're out there leading with guys like Sam Merrill and Max Strus and Ty Jerome as the backline help for someone like, I know he's
Ty Jerome in game 2, where we all were like, hey, Ty Jerome masterclass, right? Ty Jerome legacy game, 2 points, 1 for 14.
Damn.
From the field, 0 for 4 from 3.
And listen, they almost made it happen. They almost won with pure grit. Like, they were winning a lot of this game.
I remember after we got done recording the stream, I was upstairs watching the game when you came up and you were like, is that Javonte Green on my screen right now? You were like, what the fuck is going on?
I said, they had a desktop Javonte Green. Oh, hell no. I was just fucked. But listen, they played well. Those small ball lineups, they got to a lead. They were winning for most of this game before they inexplicably blew it at the end. Like, they got so close to like making the type of miraculous effort happen that you need when you're down in a series health-wise. Like, you need to pull something out like the Warriors did in game 1 when they won in spite of the injuries. They locked up and they figured out a way to win. The Cleveland Cavaliers were so close to doing that. That's the type of thing that swings a series when you have unfortunate health going your way. Mm-hmm. Now to be down 2-0 and we think they're probably going to have the same health situation for game 3 or maybe even game 4, like, it just sucks. I don't even know. Like, shout out the Pacers. They played their game. They won in the end. It wasn't a great first 3 quarters, but they clutched up. They won. Tyrese Halliburton, you're a fucking goon. I can't believe the overrated thing was crazy. None of us believe he's overrated.
Yeah, that was.
It's lovely that he's having his moment to shit on everybody and do his big ball celebration after that just ridiculous slander. I got to do his name by his peers. Shout out him. Glad he's having his moment. Outside of that, Shout out the Pacers for doing what they had to do to get past a team potentially that doesn't have a real chance with this health situation.
I remember before this series actually started, I said the only way that the Pacers would win is if Donovan Mitchell's leg entirely just falls off, severs that bitch.
And then it was Evan Mobley's.
Yeah, Evan Mobley's leg, and then Donovan Mitchell's toe, and then whatever happened to DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, shout out to Aaron Nesmith. He's been hooping his ass off, scoring 17 a game, locking up another playoff rising role player they have. Mm-hmm. We talked a lot about the Pacers in recent weeks and how much we respect them and how just I always struggle to find the word here because if I was a fan of this team, I would be immensely proud of their just style of play and doing it without superstar talent, but just making a lot of good moves around the margins over the years, accumulating a lot of good players, playing a style that empowers all those good players to have a role. Nobody pounds the rock. They keep the ball moving. They have a point guard whose specialty is making others better. It's just a style of play that you're glad to see succeed. Shout out you. You're going to succeed.
If I was an NBA player, the number one team that I personally want to play for is the Indiana Pacers.
You goddamn liar. You don't want to live in Indiana.
Stop it.
I don't want to live in Indiana, but when it comes to playing basketball, hey, man, I don't want to play that. I'd want to play that style of basketball because it's they see what you do best, and they're going to try their best to put you in position to make you look good. That's the truth. Do you see Obi Toppin? Do you see Aaron Nesmith?
Fuck out of my face. You'd rather play that style of play in the Bay. We've been to Indianapolis for All-Star Weekend, and you hated it. You would not want to live there a day in your life.
I just really like the way they play basketball. Man.
Shut up.
You can say that. You would not want to play for the Pacers if you're an NBA player.
Yeah, listen. Pacers, Knicks, Eastern Conference Finals. We're getting our leg back. We're getting our leg back. You're lucky OG Anunoby's hamstring fell off the bone last year, or else we would have won in 7 in the second round. We're coming back.
Okay.
And we're getting it.
I hope the Cavs get healthy and come back in the series.
That's crazy. I saw a highlight tape of that. I'm sorry. I saw a highlight tape of OG literally hopping on one leg. Came into game 7, hit 2 threes, and then left.
They tranquilized him with the raccoon meat.
Yeah, they gave him every ounce of the horse tranquilizer so he could try and play in game 7. And that was just sad.
Yeah, I remember that. It's hilarious.
Hopefully, the Cavs can get healthy and come back in the series. None of this is an indictment on their ability. None of it is even in their indictment on their ability while being undermanned. We saw in this game they could win. They just didn't. It's possible they win a game or two. We just don't fucking know. We just have literally nothing to go off of because we don't know who's going to be on this team.
This has been one of the best playoff series in round 2 that we've seen in a long time. Just consistent banger after banger after banger. Of course, there's blowouts. Happens always. It's the nature of the game. But the amount of game winners and how close and intensifying each game has been, fantastic.
And with that being said, that's the end of our coverage of these 2 series. Time for hour 2 of the show. Time for us to get to the title of this episode. The thing we're talking about. Let's talk about how to fix every single NBA playoff loser.
Let's get in our GM bags.
The first round is over. That means there's 8 series, 8 teams that went outside. We're going to talk about 6 of them. We're going to omit the Miami Heat because they are just so far off that who knows? They have to find star players, right? Not really an interesting conversation right now. And we're going to omit the Pistons because they're just so young and there's not a big fixing to do. They're hardly in win now mode, make the championship or fail. They can keep going at their natural pace.
They just got here.
Other 6 teams have serious questions either on who they are right now, who they'll be in the future, both serious flaws that need to be fixed or they're going to waste the next few years, whatever it may be. We're going to talk about all of them and talk about big picture-wise what they need to address to come back and have a better chance at this time next year.
Who are we starting with?
We are starting with the Houston Rockets. We're going to start with the 2 teams that lost their first round since our last episode. They lost Game 7 against the Golden State Warriors. We can talk specifics. This series essentially went how everybody thought it would. They're really, really good defensively, really, really athletic. They would push the older veteran team in the Golden State Warriors to a Game 7. But by and large, nobody had faith they would win that close win it all or go home game against the veteran savvy Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. They had lacked the half-court playmaking, lacked the shot creation, lacked the shooting up and down the roster. That all came to fruition. That's exactly what they fucking lacked. Everybody was right. They were extremely reliant on Jalen Green variants. They lost that battle more often than they wanted. What do you guys feel like is the number one thing? Of all the issues that we know, we've talked about them a lot. What do you feel like showed itself most in the series and why they lost?
The number one thing is obviously bucket getting.
Yeah.
And it's bucket getting from the perimeter, because for them to really, really be successful in this series and something that they found over the second half of the year was obviously the now infamous double big lineup with Sengun and with Steven Adams. And you're okay running that when it's as effective, but also you want to get offensive rebounds, but then also you don't want to, because if you're getting offensive rebounds, that means that you're missing shots, and you'd rather they just go in on the first opportunity. And if you can have more spacing on the floor, you would rather have that. Now, having more spacing is really, really key when you have somebody who can utilize that space that you are creating. They don't have anybody on their team who could really, really do that. Maybe a man grows and he starts, developing a jumper, developing a nice in-between game to where he can really be looked at as a go-to scorer. But you have to get somebody who you can look at and say, you are a mainly perimeter oriented guy. And in any playoff series, forget 30. You can get us 21 a night.
Yeah.
They don't have that. And that should be Jalen Green. And because of his inconsistencies, that is operation number one.
Mo, okay, so the debate is obviously, should they go out and trade for a star guard or let their young core run its course, let them keep developing, not rush the process, not put themselves in a cap situation that will necessitate they win now if they don't feel like they're 100% there. Should they rush their timeline or stay the course and see who can develop? What side do you fall on? Because I feel there's a lot of people that, especially Rockets fans, that will defend the Jalen Greens of the world, as you would say.
God.
And say, let's see who can become a star from who we have
Show
now.
goddamn words.
What side do you fall on? Should they trade for a star or should they run it back?
Man, that's a very interesting question. But I think with how they went out, you just can't go back and run the same course and believe in the Jalen Greens of the world. We all knew what was going to happen. Before the season even started, I was obviously the lowest on the Houston Rockets. I didn't have them making the playoffs clear cut. I didn't have them as one of the top 6-7 teams whatsoever. But to see what they did, we all respected them in hell. I even had them winning the series in 7. Obviously, that didn't happen. And they went out in the most predictable way ever. And because of how predictable it was, you cannot go back into next year the exact same. And
Yeah, it wasn't a shock at all.
Exactly. It's the most predictable thing ever. And because of the way they went out, aka Jalen Green doing what he did and just absolutely shitting the bed outside of that one game where he put up 30 or 28 or whatever it was. He averaged pretty much 9 points on 33% shooting from the field, which is horrendous. You can't put the fate of your franchise on a guy who's that absurdly bad. If he was to put up 20 and was able to adjust to the defense that the Golden State Warriors are throwing out at him, which of course the Warriors they're one of the toughest defenses that the NBA has to offer today. They're probably top 2 or 3 with this iteration of them. But still, being that unbelievably bad, along with all the spacing issues that they naturally have with Sengun running the double big lineup, Amen Thompson is at a certain place in his career where he doesn't have that. Jalen Green, you have to be gone. And that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, I understand in most cases why teams don't want to rush a rebuild, right? That's why we left the Pistons off here, because they see it through, see what happens. You're still so close. I mean, you're still so young in your process that you don't got to put unneeded expectations on yourself, right? This is not that to me. I reject the idea that that Rockets fans say when they do that, and they say Sengun will become the top 15 player. He'll be our one option. Jalen Green will keep getting better. He'll eventually be good enough and consistent. I reject all of that. I don't think you can just will that to happen if you don't see the things come into place for that to happen. We saw that Sengun made the development. He's defending so much better than he ever did. Offensively, he is ready for the moment. He is consistent in terms of as a creator. He will be there for you. You don't have to worry about him as a long-term piece. I also don't think he showed me that he's going to be a top 10 player that I can just put all of my championship hopes on him becoming Jokic. He's very, very good and showed you way more defensive than you ever thought. You still want to pair him with a guard that's as good or better than him if you want to have a championship ceiling, I think. We've seen absolutely nothing to suggest Jalen Green will be that. We've seen a lot from Amen Thompson that we could say he can be an all-star. He showed us zero that he'll be that type of player in terms of late-game bucket getter, which isn't always necessary. It is necessary when you're playing through Amen and Sengun, who aren't that. You definitely clearly need that player. It doesn't have to be a star. It doesn't have to be Devin Booker. But you need somebody else here that can create off the dribble, that can do what Fred VanVleet did in those games you won, but do it more consistently at a younger guy who you can think doing that long term. If it's not trading for a Devin Booker or a Kevin Durant, they need to trade for somebody. They need to get in. We always talk Anthony Simons in these talks when we talk about other teams. Somebody that type of player, somebody that can create off the dribble and give you scoring punch, whether off the bench or in your starting lineup. I would be so disappointed if they stood pat and ran back the exact same style of play. I think it would be nonsense.
The only games that they won in this series were whenever Jalen Green went for 38 and when Van Vliet was going crazy from 3. If you can go and you can get somebody like a Simons, that would be very, very ideal, because then you can still kind of keep the same rotation and the same, I guess, hierarchy of your team that you have right now. But also, surprise, this is what happens when you have a good young core. Eventually, you have to consolidate and you have to figure out, these are going to be our 3 guys. Now we're going to build the team around them and continue to get and continue to get role players. This is ultimately the ending part of the process.
Yes.
You have now made the playoffs. You were the 2 seed. You won 52 games. You know that the pieces that you have are good pieces, and you know that you have an all-star in Sengun. You have people who have all-star potential. You have to go now start developing around it, because what you don't want to do is get into a Pistons situation where you have great talent, but because of the pieces around them, they're not optimized. And you see what happens as soon as you got some shooters for Cade. He was able to take another leap. If you think that Sengun is like that, if you think that Amen is like that, now you have to go get the pieces around them to help them and their development flourish. Jalen Green is not going to be that.
I think they should do the Kevin Durant thing everybody else thinks they should do. I understand the timeline concerns. I think you have...
Who gives a damn about the timeline? Is so... That conversation always pisses me off.
And you mentioned this is the end of the rebuild process, end of the process. Correct. Yeah, correct. You identify what you have and what you don't. You have everything you need to win at the highest level besides a go-to scorer. You have the secondary scorer in Sengun. You have the defensive anchors in Amen and Jabari for young guys. You also have Tari Eason in there. Dylan Brooks played great. You have the point guard who can bring things together and be another secondary scorer in Fred VanVleet. You have literally everything you need. You even have the guys in the tuck that can develop into being whoever is needed once you inevitably have to let guys go for cost reasons, in maybe Cam Whitmore and Reed Shepard, right? You have every single thing you need besides the guy. We did this team first because it's the most obvious. You need to get the guy. Devin Booker would be great. I think they're not going to let Devin Booker go. Kevin Durant's going to be the best option at their disposal, barring a unforeseen guy becoming available. I don't know if the Heat decide to get rid of Tyler Hero, whatever it may be, then sure, there's other paths. The Kevin Durant path makes all the sense in the world. You'll maintain positional size. You'll get veteran leadership if that means something to you. You'll get a guy who can be a good scorer on ball, be a good scorer off ball off of Sengun. The fit is perfect to me.
I agree with you guys. You're especially cooking when it comes to hating on the fact that some people out there want to give this young nucleus more time. The time in the NBA in terms of when you have your opportunity to win a championship is so wildly unpredictable. Sometimes there's certain teams that will have their run and they'll be in their dynasty era, but obviously that's so incredibly rare. That happens once in every 10 years. And then you have your teams the Milwaukee Bucks who strike once and they're able to take it home and win an NBA championship just one time, and then now their future is what their future. We'll talk about that later. For the Houston Rockets, you accelerated this process so fast and no one think you were going to be here. No one thought you were going to win 52 games. No one thought you were going to be the number 2 seed in the Western Conference and have a top 3-4 defense in the entire NBA. Now that you have this time and you have also the Dylan Brooks of the world who played fantastic, and Fred VanVleet, although he was inconsistent, but played fantastic as well.
We'd be so drunk if we did a drinking game. Oh my goodness. We'd fried by our way.
Now that you have this nucleus here, I think the most obvious thing is to trade for Kevin Durant. I would do that too if the opportunity was presented. But if that's not the case too, Anthony Simons makes the most sense also, simply because you don't sell off all of your assets, and this isn't the move that you cash in to do, and maybe you'll be able to retain someone like Reed Shepard. Who the fuck knows? Regardless of at the end of the day, something needs to change because you have an opportunity presented to your face. You just got to make the move. It's obvious.
Theirs is obvious. We can move on. Theirs is very clear. They need to get the score. Everybody, the mainstream media is right, Rockets fans. You guys need the score. Sorry, I know you guys hate hearing that. Let's talk about another team that the mainstream media is right about. Milwaukee Bucks.
Damn.
How do we fix the Milwaukee Bucks? Because, okay, so we'll say this. Obviously, this comes down to whether or not Giannis requests a trade. They for us as wide NBA fans, I think the hope is Giannis requests a trade just because they're not going anywhere with the Damian Lillard injury. They're really, their hands are tied. Unfortunate for them. We all kind of hope Giannis requests trade so we can see Giannis have a chance to win. Let's assume that doesn't happen. Let's assume we're going down a path of which Giannis decides to stay loyal, which is very possible. He's shown no indication he wants to leave yet. Let's assume he doesn't. How can they fix this team? How can they put themselves in the best position to succeed next year with having $60 million to Damian Lillard? Probably not going to be there all year.
If I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan, I'm not watching any YouTube channel. I'm not watching any sports channel. I'm not going into any local barbershops or restaurants or anywhere where they like to talk about sports. Staying my ass home. I'm on the most absurd medications. I'm taking penicillins and all that.
Damn.
And all that, bro. I'm on all that simply because you are bound to be sick as fuck with what everyone's going to be saying this entire summer. And that meeting between Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks happened, I think, almost a week ago now. Mm-hmm. We haven't heard jack shit. I'm sure something would have leaked about Giannis maintaining or Giannis staying on the Milwaukee Bucks for this foreseeable future. Nothing has happened, and I think that's for a fucking reason. The silence is loud as ever.
I don't know about that.
It can go either way. I think for them, the most realistic path is to kind of do the same thing that they did last year, which is you try and sign guys on the minimum, and you try to fill around the margins, just because you don't really have a lot of flexibility in terms of going out and getting quality players. Do you have a little bit more cap space now that you traded away Chris Middleton? Yes, but I mean, you still have glaring holes, and the guy that you thought was going to fix it in Kyle Kuzma is clearly not the answer. You were relying on
put his house on Verbo. Kyle Kuzma, 6 points on 32% shooting from the field. He's
yeah,
out of here.
I'm with you. Like, if I was a Bucks fan, I'm staying inside, and I'm just gonna read a book. I'm not gonna watch ESPN or anything, or I'm not listening to any podcast, because they really are stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I think this summer their 2032 pick will become unlocked. I think when the new league year starts. So they have Detroit's second round pick this year, the 2032 pick, and Kyle Kuzma. That's what they got to work with. They'll probably trade Kyle Kuzma, I think. I think after this playoff run, there's no indication he should stay. Brook Lopez is a free agent. For their payroll next year, all they have is Damian Lillard, Giannis, Kyle Kuzma, AJ Green, Andre Jackson, and then Chris Livingston, Tyler Smith. And then player options, they have Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, and Kevin Porter.
Yikes.
I think Bobby Portis would probably take that $13 million and opt in. Don't know about Pat Connaughton or Kevin Porter. That's only a few players. They don't have a lot to work with. They'll have their mid-level exception, I think. I don't think they'll be in the tax anymore, so maybe they'll have access to full mid-level. They can go out and try to get somebody with that can be good. Maybe they can try to replace Brook Lopez with a younger center like Clint Capella or something. I don't know. It's not a great free agency class. They'll get somebody playable with the mid-level exception, probably a big. Then they can trade Kyle Kuzma for probably a guard, right? They need something. If you're not going to have Dame for a year, they're going to have to replace him with somebody. You have $22 million salary and Kyle Kuzma.
Kendrick Nunn, welcome back to the league.
And a couple picks, man. So
damn it.
Whoever's available, the best point guard available, I think that's what they have to do. They have to get some guard that can run the offense and then use that mid-level exception, whether it's full or taxpayer, to sign a center. And they have to hope that they can re-sign Gary Trent and Taurean Prince, and they can give you just enough, and Giannis can win MVP and get you into the playoffs.
So obviously success in the league is a lot of times dictated on what expectations were going into the season. What would be if the Bucks if they won a playoff series next year and they got to the second round and got blasted? Is that a successful year?
Sure. Yeah, I guess, because they're in a situation now where they can't do anything and everybody knows that.
Is Giannis just being on the team? Is that just...
Yes.
That's the success?
If Giannis is here next year, it's simply because he wants to go down as a legend and he's okay with not being relevant in terms of team success-wise or having any type of playoff picture hopes. He's okay with that and wants to wait it out and be down for the team. If that's the case, we're not going to talk about them much next year because they will have no desire or ability to win. It'll just be, hey, we got Giannis and he likes being here. We like having him here. So any idea of playoff picture is irrelevant to me. If you're telling me they win a first round series and lose in the second round, great. They should win 0 first round series next year. So if they win one, happy go lucky. We're having a great time.
That's the best outcome and scenario for the Milwaukee Bucks front office, ownership, fans, and all that. And I think that's the best possible scenario for them. But Is that actually going to happen? I don't fucking know, simply because that sounds like a dream of them signing useful players. Although, and also like still retaining someone like Doc Rivers. I think he needs to go. They need to tear everything down.
He's staying there.
Really?
Go ahead.
Now, if we're done being realistic, and let's talk about how to actually fix this team and what we would do. You got to trade Giannis, I think. They're not going to do it. They're not going to be preemptively the ones to trade Giannis. They're going to, if I was a Bucks fan, if I was a Bucks fan, I wouldn't be hoping this. I'd want Giannis to be here forever. As somebody who does not care about the fandom element of this and wants every team to make smart decisions, I hope Giannis requests a trade for the Bucks' own sake. And I hope they can do something around either another star package, like for a Jaylen Brown if the Celtics go out sad, or a 3-team deal where they send Giannis to somebody and then somebody sends great assets to the Pelicans and the Pelicans send their picks back to the Bucks. They need to do something of that sort. The only path to being relevant 4 years from now is a Giannis trade, I think.
That's the only way out.
A 3-team deal where you either get a lot of picks from a team that has a bunch, like somebody like who has all those, like the Rockets. I guess if we're going back to them getting a star, they have a lot of picks from various teams. They have Suns picks, they have their own picks. You cast a wide net and get a bunch of picks that aren't your own, and you tank through that and hope those become good. Or you do a 3-team deal and try to get your own picks back. But they have to tear it down if they really want to be serious.
Yeah. A team in my mind who just has a bunch of like random ass second round picks are the Washington Wizards. Hey man, if you want to do some, make some happen, I guess so.
Oh God.
But
Get out of here.
That's just like discussing talk and territories that we're having right now. But overall, I agree. A couple streams ago, which was on ironically a Tuesday, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't know if you guys knew that. We were talking about how they're at the will of the New Orleans Pelicans and they completely determine their future. I think David Griffin got fired just like last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. So I don't know who the GM right now is, but whoever is in charge, that they completely control what happens with the Milwaukee Bucks, because if you're not able to retain your picks back, then trading Giannis is damn near pointless unless like you are in the best case scenario and you are able to get 2 like semi all-star level players for Giannis. And it's like, you can stay afloat.
Hey, man,
other than that,
Giannis for Zion, Trey Murphy, and release the pick swaps. So we get to have our picks back in those years where you currently have a pick swap. Who says no? If Giannis requests a trade, who says no?
If I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, with all that you've been through and how your team is set up, I try to keep someone like Trey Murphy. I don't know how it works out cap-wise, but I try to keep someone like Trey Murphy because Giannis and Zion have obviously similar play styles in terms of you're bullying the fucking
No, you're trading Zion.
You're trading.
No, I'm saying like if I was my bad. I'm saying if I was the Pelicans, I would want to
Sure,
trade
yeah.
someone
It's Zion.
more
It's Trey.
Yeah.
It's Giannis. You can't keep your good players.
Yeah.
Listen, one guy is, one guy finishes in the top 3 in MVP voting every single year, and the other one, you don't know his availability status. I want to make it work. I wish it could have worked out.
Yeah.
Get away.
Sorry, Trey. if upgrading from Zion to Giannis costs Trey Murphy, sorry, Trey. Get ready to speak cheese curds. We're going to Milwaukee.
Yeah, like it, and it does suck for Milwaukee because like for it to just end like this and going outside with the playoff loss with Dame's injury, you obviously never want to see it. But yeah, if you're doing what's best for the organization, you are gonna have to move off, because we've seen too many times teams hold on to players, miss the window of maximum value, and then now you're in this like very middle ground. And for a team like Milwaukee, you know exactly how they have to be good. You have to draft well. You have to make smart trades early and get in on the ground floor of a lot of things. And so maximizing value for your players at the time, that's the only way it's going to happen.
All right. So again, for the Bucks, it's simple. It comes down to the Giannis question. And there's different paths. If Giannis requests a trade, I think it should be assets and getting the ability to restart back. If Giannis doesn't request a trade, you rid your hands of expectations and you have fun next year. That's how you fix them. You fix your expectations, not the team itself.
Look in the mirror. Have conversations with yourself. Start journaling more.
Now let's go to another team that recently lost to Game 7. The Los Angeles Clippers. How do we fix the team that is currently led by James Harden, who has re-entered conversations? People are relitigating the idea that James Harden is the greatest choker in NBA history. That's all people are going to talk about all summer. Whether it be good or bad or deserved, you can decide. It's going to be the conversation. And Kawhi Leonard, who will give you one insane game every 3 weeks in which people will be like, I told you he's Kobe Bryant. I told you he's better than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then go back to being over 30 years old, legs out from him, best years behind him. He can't consistently give you top end production. Those are two best players. They have some great role players around that led them to a great season. But I think you're pretty hamstrung to your nucleus of those guys. It's those two, it's Zubac, and it's everybody else. How do you put the team over the line to win it all next year? How do you fix them, Donovan?
You book Kawhi Leonard a flight to Germany.
Okay.
And you get him whatever super soldier serum he needs for his knee. Because this team is not like, they are not a championship favorite. And I think that there were spurts and there were times whenever Kawhi Leonard was scoring, 30 something points a night.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that. When he had one of the best playoff games that he's ever had, there were times where you could look at the Clippers and you could squint your eyes and you could say, oh, they can actually do it. But they just don't have enough. And so I think for them, if you're talking about the basketball side of it, you probably just do what you've been doing for the last three, 4 years, which is I'm going to pray that Kawhi Leonard is healthy enough and that he can elevate to a certain level. And we are going to try and maybe get a little bit more shooting, more playmaking, maybe swap out like the Norm Powell aspect to try to get somebody else who has, who can be a little bit more consistent in their on-ball scoring. But for them, what they did this offseason, I think macro picture with the Clippers, the biggest thing for them, and it's going to sound like I'm joking, I'm 100% serious. You keep rocking with this because this team is competent and this team is a team that can continue to just build the ground layer of culture. You just got this new arena. The wall was a success. All of that is really, really good. There's no need to blow it up or tear it down or do anything. And now your team just sucks.
I love what you said because they're pretty much forced to do that because they don't own any of their picks or they don't own any control of their picks until the year 2030. That's when it resets, and that's when they have the ability to dictate what they have. And if there's any team in the NBA that needs to like hone in on identity and just start to build something, it's the Los Angeles Clippers for all the things that you said. If I were them, Zubac just came into the scene as one of the better bigs that the league has to offer. At the start of the year, I remember we were all like, damn, bro, these guys are kind of on
I said 12 seed, I think.
They're kind of on the edge, and can you imagine? We all talked about like the worst case scenario happening for the NBA, which is, okay, the Clippers missed the fucking playoffs. And on top of that, too, OKC owns control of their pick for the next several years. And the OKC ends up having like the first overall pick or second overall pick and whatnot. So they just need to stay put in continue to build on what they have.
No, they don't. Oh, yeah, can build what they have. They don't need to stay put, though. They can make a big move this summer. Everyone's like underrating that. They have the salary of Norm Powell, $20 million. And the salary of Bogdan Bogdanovic, $16 million, with a player option for the year after that. So they have $36 million of expiring salary. They can trade the 2025 first-round pick of the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is the last pick in the draft, probably, but that's something, as well as a 2031 pick. So they can package 2 first-round picks. One of them is a future pick in which your team, who knows who's going to be on it, so that's probably pretty valuable to some teams, and $36 million in salary. They can get a meaningful upgrade to this team. They are not there to win a championship, but there's a reason we were talking about them as being able to win the first round. They were dominant for the second half of the year when Kawhi is there. At this point, all they can do every year is pray Kawhi will be there. So all you can build for is the perfect scenario in which he is available for the playoffs, whether it's likely or not. Mm-hmm. They can get a meaningful upgrade there to be here next year. They still have Chris Dunn under salary for several years, still have Zubac, and still have Derrick Jones Jr. Their best role players are going to be there for years. They can swap out these two guards and get somebody meaningful there. Probably another two-way player. Probably another guy that can hopefully give you some scoring for when Kawhi isn't there in the regular season. I kind of like their outlook in that regard.
I don't know if I love their outlook. I
don't love their outlook in general before the Clippers standards and their scenario where they're locked in this team. Mm-hmm. I like their ability to be a better version of this team next year.
And that's why I said if they were going to do anything, they just have to get some more on-ball creation, some more on-ball scoring juice, because like Norm Powell had games where in the playoffs where you're like, oh, this is rough.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is awful. And Bogey also had games where you're like, this is rough. Like this sucks. And so swapping those two guys out to have somebody alongside Kawhi to where Kawhi didn't play bad in the series, but you want to see Kawhi score 28, 29, 30 points consistently. That may not be where he's at in his career. So can we get 23 from Kawhi and a consistent 23, 24 from somebody else? And then you really, really don't need James Harden to give you 20 in a game 7, right? If you can minimize the amount of scoring that you need from James Harden going deeper into the postseason, that would be the best option.
They could get another wing that can be an off-ball 3-and-D punch that they want, like a Cam Johnson. They could probably get him with that package. If the Nuggets want to make big moves, if Michael Porter Jr. is available, they could afford him. They could do something like that, or they can go for another guard with, like you said, on-ball punch. Maybe if the Grizzlies want to tear some shit down and Desmond Bane's available in a 3-team trade, they can go for that salary-wise. They have a lot of options for a wing that can do some offensive stuff with the ball in his hands, and I think that's the answer for them. I think you continue to go all in because you're stuck going all in regardless, like Mo said, for the next several years. You blow some more picks and you go get another player, a 2 or 3 that can do stuff like that.
I agree. Like, just this season was a massive success for them. No one believed that they would get to this point. Obviously, expectations started to change and rise once we all started realizing, oh my God, like this is literally one of the most elite defenses that the NBA has to offer. You were hammering on that a couple of weeks ago, Isaac, in our predictions episode. And obviously, things didn't happen the way we envisioned them happening. They're out and they're at home and they're on their couch. No one thought, or none of us thought, Denver was going to prevail, but they did. It is what it is at this point.
It's
like
so
you said, I love the idea of trading. If they're allowed to trade away one of those swaps from OKC, cool. Or if they just end up trading away that 2030 or 2031 pick, cool. Do that as well. Just you have a solid base and foundation for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, they can trade on draft night, by the way. That's how it works. Is that pick that they swapped after OKC swaps on draft night, they can start to trade it. So it would have to be a trade then.
Exactly. That's the only way of like actual growth outside of like interior or internal growth in someone like Zubac becoming maybe a top 5 center in the NBA next year.
But they have the pieces in place. So if you can get one more piece of juice there with those salaries, I think that's as close to a fix as you can get because they were close to making the second round, right? It comes down to them not performing this in the game 7. They're not far away. So I think one more piece is a good spot for them.
I agree.
I like Cam Johnson too there. I think that'd be a good fit.
It's going to be insanely interesting to see how they perform next year because James Harden, by the time the season starts, Kawhi's going to be 34, James Harden's going to be 36. And so obviously you have these two guys. You have health concerns with the 34-year-old. You have playoff concerns with the 36-year-old. You would hope that they can get a little bit younger and get some more juice there. But that I don't know.
Okay.
I need to take some time off from Clippers talk because they frustrated me.
All right, let's talk about a team that I'm sure you have plenty of thoughts on. How do we fix the Memphis Grizzlies' biggest problems? What do you identify as the reasons they lost in the first round, and how do we put them in a better position to not lose for that reason next year?
This might be the longest part of this segment because they have like a laundry list of issues, literally starting from top to bottom. We could talk about their head coach situation. We can talk about how John Morant and him being consistently inconsistent in terms of his health. We could talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. and the legitimacy of him being a 1 or whatever 2 option, however you view him, and how insane he just like drops in the playoffs. So many questions to be answered, and I damn near don't know where to start other than like, okay, how much do you believe in Ja? And do you trust in him continuously to be the guy?
Okay, Donovan, which one of those issues do you think are the ones that need to fix?
Okay, so I guess we could start with the Ja thing. Getting another like for real score. So like obviously the trade that there's only one KD to go around the league, right?
Yeah.
But like, and that's kind of like the perfect mock. But somebody like that because you got to the playoffs and you obviously Ja stuff there. You don't know how consistent Jaren Jackson Jr. and his scoring is going to be in the playoffs. There's that. So after all of that, you are left with Desmond Bane being, either 1A or your 2 scorer. And Darren Bane, he's a good player, right? But do you want to have a little bit higher of a floor from an on-ball creator in the event that Ja isn't there? Like that's the place where I think you probably are going to be able to make the most meaningful upgrade. And that was one of the reasons why, if Jimmy Butler wasn't like, yeah, I'm not going to Memphis, why they were kind of involved in that, because you wanted somebody else who can create for themselves and keep the offense moving and doing all that stuff. So that would be the main area that you would probably try to target if you're them.
Yeah, they have a lot of. I don't even think they're super flawed roster. You sit up and down the roster, like they have great depth. They have good wings. They have a good big group. I think I like Zach Edey long term. They have Jaren Jackson to play a lot of center minutes. They obviously are the team best equipped to find more diamonds in the rough every single year. They found Scottie Pippen Jr., who looks like he's going to be their backup point guard for a long time. They find Jay Huffs every day. They find all these guys, right? We don't really have to worry about their ability to have depth, I think. Mm-hmm. And they re-signed their interim coach long term. He's going to be there to stay. Hopefully that bodes well for John Morant, because the question that is going to be on everybody's mind in terms of like clickbait, what's next, is John Morant and whether or not they decide to continue this experience or check out because of the variance that comes with playing through him. I think they probably will give it at least one more year. I don't think you fire Taylor Jenkins if you're not picking Ja in that exchange, right? At least on the surface, it seems like the biggest reason for the Taylor Jenkins firing, amongst other things, is not maximizing John Morant. Firing him signifies you want to maximize John Morant and put somebody in there that will make him feel better long term, right? Get the most out of him. That doesn't scream to me we're going to move him this summer. So I don't think that's going to be a realistic conversation they have. And if you have good depth, you have your star player, and Jaren Jackson is you're going to be your second star player. You're probably not going to move him. The only logical path is try to get that third guy and have better star power up top to give yourself a higher floor outside of just the depth, right? And you're right. It's probably a Desmond Bane trade. It's probably either Kevin Durant or who else might become available. But they clearly don't have the top end talent to compete. I think that's the one thing that Zach Lowe talked about and made everybody look around after that playoff series is this is year 5 or 4 of this core. These guys aren't good enough against the other team's top guys. When you have equal depth, equal coaching, their star power simply isn't there. They're paid like a big three. They're not a big three. And that's not Jaren's fault. It's not Desmond Bane's fault. They both just don't have enough juice when John Morant's your number 1. Sounds like number 3 guy got to go. We got to figure out who's going to be that guy in there in Desmond Bane's place.
And it sucks because it sucks for them because you look around the conference, mainly from OKC, and you see a young big three between Shea, J-Dub, and Chet. And that's kind of the archetype of how you would want to build a big three in terms of skill sets, overlapping skill sets, covering up weaknesses, stuff like that. And it's great. It's perfect. And like I hope that those three can play together for the rest of their career. With Memphis, you're trying to get to that. And we talked about it as they were going out. When you start going up and down the conference for next year, where do they slide in at? Because you're going to have OKC. Denver is going to be in the mix with Jokic. Let's say Houston, even if Houston stays stagnant, their defense is still going to be good enough. So the Clippers surprised everybody. Like, is there enough juice to get to the second round? And instead of you losing by 50 points in a playoff game to the Thunder, can you come back next year, be in that situation, and go toe-to-toe?
You know what would be the best case scenario for them?
What?
If the Celtics go out sad and they have to change up a lot of stuff because of the looming second apron. If they could swap Desmond Bane, more salary, and whatever assets are needed for Jaylen Brown, that would be so fucking perfect. Having a Jaylen Brown guy there next to Jaren Jackson and Ja. Now, who knows what's going to happen with the Celtics? I'm not saying they should go out and get Jaylen Brown, but
down 0-2, and it's like, yeah,
blow it up. No, I'm not saying that, but that type of player is what they need. They need a guy in Desmond Bane's spot who can really just be better on both ends. They need to expel whatever draft assets they need to get a better wing there. And again, this comes down to who's available, but identifying a two-way wing or off guard that can be a legit star caliber guy that can give you more high-end talent, to me, that's the clear move. And they have the depth to consolidate. They can afford to get rid of some young guys because they have a lot of guys in tuck. They don't even get a lot of minutes now. Vince Williams is supposed to be their starter, wasn't even playing a lot of this second half of the season. So they have the ability to shed some depth and still be relatively deep next year. It's similar to the Houston Rockets. I think star consolidation trade is clearly what they need.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Luckily for them, they have all their assets still pretty much. Yep. I think they've realized a lot of the things we've been saying just now, like years ago. I remember when they initially tried to trade for someone like Mikal Bridges and offered, I think the Phoenix Suns or something like that, like a boatload of picks, like 4 or 5 first round picks. They know that they're like juice deficient from that range. And I think another option that could be available, I agree with you. Jaylen Brown would be a fantastic fit. But if they wanted to go even bigger and hell, even lighter too, go ahead and trade for someone like Larry Markkinen, because who the fuck knows what Utah is doing? They're not up to shit. They completely like made him irrelevant last year after he had a miraculous All-Star year. I think that's another guy who I love.
He makes a lot of money now. He
does.
makes like $48 million or something crazy. He's expensive.
It's a move to consolidate, though.
He's expensive. You know who else makes a lot of money that they have the assets for in that perfect scenario in which he becomes available, and have the perfect big man to fit with him and give him the stretch five while having double shot blockers?
Porzingis.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, shit.
And then you have him as your best player and Jaren Jackson as your second best player. If the fit doesn't work with Ja, you can ship him for somebody else because you have Giannis Antetokounmpo.
They got to get creative. Because all these issues stem from the top up, not from the bottom. So
Giannis in Memphis,
It'd be awesome.
aside from basketball, the amount of content that would
He's so great and grind. It would be natural. Dude, that jersey on Giannis, that would look so natural to me.
I mean, listen, it would. Yes, the jersey's nice. It would go platinum, but like it would.
But it would go platinum on Giannis. Pay attention to what he said.
Could you imagine like Giannis like waving the towel, yelling, "Whoop that trick"?
Oh my God.
No.
I can't do it if I want to.
Yeah. So needless to say, I think a lot of times you talk about how to fix a team, the media always goes to get a star. And in some cases, that's not always the correct path. I do think that's the correct path for the Grizzlies. They have to make a ceiling play. Before you do the Ja Morant blow it up, go new direction thing, you have to do one more ceiling play to see if you can get the best version of Ja Morant with a star that fits him. Mm-hmm. I think it's Kevin Durant. I think it could be Giannis if you're going all the way, pie in the sky, whatever it may be. They are in a position to get another star.
Facts.
Now let's talk about a team that is not in a position to get a star, but is in a position they need to fix some goddamn shit. The Los Angeles Lakers. How do we fix the Los Angeles Lakers after the biggest disappointment of the playoffs, in which they lost in 5 games to the Timberwolves? That was so surprising because pretty much the entire media landscape picked the Lakers to win that series. It was accepted that they have a good path to get to the conference finals as a ceiling, at the very least would win the first round. They did not. They are a flawed team with so much to do. Goes without saying. Getting a center is number one.
Yes.
They need to have a playable center so they can have a playable scheme that has the baseline competence. We don't have to dive into that. If they can get Nick Claxton for the Dalton Connect package, great. Maybe they have to sign a Clint Capella and have as a worst case scenario with their taxpayer mid-level exception. That has to be the number one thing to fix them. Outside of that, besides the obvious, what else do they have to do? Because they're not get a third star type of scenario. Mm-hmm. They're get a lot of good players around LeBron and around Luka. Figure out who is going to be your nucleus going into the next era after LeBron with Luka Doncic. What do you think needs to be done besides getting a center?
Getting a trainer next to Luka, making sure that. Listen.
So you feel like Luka's the biggest thing around fixing the Lakers?
Yeah, because it's two different conversations, and we've talked a lot about the Warriors having 2 timelines. The Lakers are really in like a 2 timeline or two path. I think they're on one singular timeline, but there's 2 ways to go about it, because how long are you going to put this amount of onus and pressure on LeBron, and how long are you going to be dedicated to that? Because while LeBron can be super soldier, Draymond Green, super soldier role player and do all this stuff, there is also like, moving into the Luka Doncic era and going all in. And obviously, do I want LeBron on my team until he can't play anymore? Yes, I do. But LeBron has his contract requires you to pay him a lot of money. And so like that money can be put into other resources. So I think like if LeBron is going to be on the team, you saw it this year. He can go crazy for a 30-point game. If that happens, next game he's probably going to get 17, set hella screens, do all that stuff. And Luka and his conditioning and whatever that conversation is, you want to be able to have spurts and have long stretches where you are seeing the Luka Doncic. And there were times where you saw it this year. There were also times where you're like, hey, Luka doesn't look like Luka. You talked about it all the time in terms of his aggression and his ability to get downhill and get to the rim and get to the paint and creating paint touches. The center thing is just, it's so obvious. Yeah. We knew it when they made the deal. We saw it in this series. You have to get that, because that is an integral part of Luka's game, is having a vertical lob threat, to have that release and force whoever is guarding him in the paint to have to make that decision. So that's the number one thing. All of this in my mind revolves around Luka.
Yeah, and it's about putting him in the best position to succeed. And obviously he has to do his part, get in the best shape of his career and all that. Who knows? We'll see where he goes. He can still be great without that, but if he wants to be best player in the world, we know he has to lock in a little bit. They need to do a better job of building a team that not only he can succeed in, but that optimizes him, that covers his weaknesses, accentuates his strengths. That starts with the roll man that can not only set screens and roll and give him that vertical spacing we all know he needs to maximize his playmaking and get back to the 10 assists a game type of range, but also give him a rim protector behind him so his defense isn't quite as much of a focus because there's somebody to cover his ass. Hopefully that could be Nick Claxton. That one's clear. They have to re-sign Dorian Finney-Smith, and I think they can't be done there. They have to continue to surround Luka Doncic with good defenders. We know what LeBron did as a defender this year and how important that was. There's only so many years you can continue to rely on him to have that much energy defensively. Mm-hmm. There's a conversation to be had around Austin Reeves.
Yes.
And the duplicative skill set and whether you're better off trading him for somebody of equal caliber that is more complementary. We can talk about that. But I think the other easy thing is you probably got to trade Rui Hachimura for a more defensive-oriented player. He had a good year. He has good rapport as a finisher. Defensively, he's not good, especially off ball. He certainly doesn't cover for Luka defensively. He's not a wing stopper that can give Luka the weakest assignment in any play. You want to find your PJ Washington, and I think trading Rui and whatever, I guess Gabe Vincent as well for salary, combining those two with whatever other picks you can, that is pretty important, I think.
You think they could go hit up Nico Harrison and get PJ Washington too?
He might. Shit.
Listen, go get Daniel Gafford and go get PJ Washington and go get Derek Lively and go get Dante Exum and go get Kyrie Irving and go get Klay Thompson.
What's funny is I like that's the strategy because the Mavs were cooking. Yeah, right? They were cooking before they traded Luka. And so you can take old reliable, right? Dust it off, whether it be THT in a pick, THT in a pick, D-Lo in a pick, take whoever at the pick and get some bench depth at the center position because right now, I mean, you had some not great guys playing center for the Lakers, and the Mavs in one offseason or in 6 months, whatever, were able to get Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Mm-hmm. That changes the entire complexion of the team. If you can do the same thing here where you have two bigs that you can play 28 to 30 minutes interchangeably and always have a live catcher, always have somebody there for Luka, that's key.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. The name of the game when it comes to talking about a player of Luka's caliber is maximizing. They don't have to do anything next year. They could roll with the same lineup and just stumble into 50 wins just because Luka Doncic and LeBron James together are just like that great of a duo alongside Austin Reeves. But I agree with you guys overall. You guys covered all ends. Austin Reeves, I think that conversation needs to for sure be had. I'm not 100% sure on him being sold or not. I think we did a TikTok segment and I was like so quick to trade Austin Reeves because it was a TikTok segment. I was clip farming. You guys know how the game goes. But in general, the conversation genuinely needs to be had. And I'm not saying like he's thrown in every conversation, but I definitely am listening to a lot.
Yeah, I think if you can use him as a conduit to get somebody that's as good or better than him, as that's a long-term fit with Luka Doncic, I'm okay with it. But I'm not okay with like people that want to trade him just because like he shit himself in the playoffs. Clearly, he can't be here long-term. I don't want to overreact to anything. But if it's to get a long-term really good wing and it's Austin Reeves plus whatever assets are necessary to make up that value, or a great big like a Jared Allen or whoever else we've theorized over the years as a good fit, then that's fine. You can keep your options open with Austin Reeves, but there doesn't need to be a rush at all because he's not a star, but he's damn close to it offensively for a player who doesn't make star money. You know, like he's not anywhere close to Kyrie Irving, but in that role as a secondary ball handler, he can do a lot of that value you get from an off-ball guard like Kyrie in that year last year.
Austin Reeves or Tyler Hero? Which one you want?
Austin Reeves makes a third of the money. Austin Reeves.
Just who's the best player? Just curiosity.
I guess Tyler Hero's better, but it's... I mean, that's a little relevance because in practicality of making that kind of trade.
No, it's nothing to do with you. I'm just like genuinely curious because I'm like, damn, who is better between these two?
I guess if they're making the same money, I guess Tyler Hero, but that's pretty close.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing this offseason, and aside from just like archetypes of players, it's just who they bring in because it was very clear last season whenever he signed the contract, but as soon as this year started, it was like, yo, D'Lo's out of here. Like JJ Redick hates D'Angelo Russell. He's gonna be out of here. In the playoffs, JJ only trusted like 5 or 6 players, And so who are going to be the guys that JJ, eventually brings in? And can you get to the playoffs and have 7 guys that the JJ Redick trusts, have 8 guys and at least a solid rotation of players that you feel that can actually play, meaningful minutes in a series? That is going to be one of the more interesting things to see. As the team evolves and has more of JJ Redick's imprint, especially with Luka moving forward, building this core out, who does he trust? What types of players does he want to bring in? And what is his vision for this team? I'm very curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah. TLDR, they need to get a big. They need to get more defenders. They need to reshuffle their entire roster to fit Luka Doncic and replicate what the Mavericks were able to do with him. However, by whatever means necessary. Trade all the picks, trade all the young players. Convince Luka Doncic he wants to be here long-term this summer.
I agree.
And if you're drawing up trades to get them a third star, you need to get the fuck out of your imagination because they do not need a star.
Third star is hilarious. Not with Luka.
No. Okay. Last team we want to talk about. The Orlando Magic. How do we fix this godforsaken offense?
So there's 2 ways. There's 2 ways that you can do this. And I think one of them, if we did it this season, it would be a little bit premature. The first one is you go out, you just get shooters. And anybody if you've seen them shoot 40% in a season before, you sign them. I don't
No
care.
questions asked.
No question what it is. The other is, do you start looking at Jamal Mosley and making some type of a change at the coach? Again, I think that is a year premature before we have real world conversations, only because this season Paolo was hurt for a majority of the year. Franz was hurt for a majority of the year. Can you finally have the season where they're both healthy? All of that. But you just have to have a release valve, because if you're going to put the ball in Paolo's hands, he needs shooters around him. That's 1. 2, if Franz isn't going to be a shooter, then you need more spacing.
Yeah.
And that's why.
I think to me, it's very simple. You get the guy on screener now. You go get Kristaps Porzingis. You go get somebody like that. You have your core. Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. Those 3 will start next year for you. KCP will probably start for you because you need shooters, and he's theoretically supposed to be your great shooter. You give him time to bounce back. The only other place for us to add the spacing everybody wants is the center position. They got to move hell on earth to get a stretch 5. Hopefully for their sake, it's the Celtics having a shed salary and it can be KP. That's pretty realistic. Whether or not you believe in his health and want him to be the guy is another question, but beggars can't be choosers. They need a stretch 5 more than they need goddamn oxygen. That is the only answer to them getting consistent spacing. So that is non-negotiable. Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, whoever it may be, needs to be shipped out for a stretch 5. Maybe you can try to figure out the money for a signing trade for Miles Turner if the Pacers don't keep him, but I think they will keep him. Whoever it is, please get a stretch 5 and then get a backup point guard that can shoot. We've always had Anthony Simons for years. That would be great, but it doesn't even got to be quite as rich as that. It can be Jordan Clarkson. It can be anybody of that sort.
We're talking about Colin Sexton at the
Colin Sexton would be great, but I want somebody even more of a shooting threat than Colin Sexton, because you're going to have Suggs as your starter. The Anthony Black, Cole Anthony minutes, Gary Harris minutes, all these guys on the bench that are good defenders that can theoretically shoot when open, none of them are dangerous enough of a shooter. Your starting 5 isn't going to be the best shooting 5 in the world regardless, because Franz is seemingly never going to be a shooting threat. And as Paolo can shoot, but he's not, like this crazy floor spacer. It really comes down to Suggs, KCP, and hopefully a stretch 5. You're going to need to have bench guys that when you bench one of these wings to run lineups with one wing plus bench, they have elite spacing around them. So you need to have, basically you got to replace Cole Anthony for a sharpshooter.
Yeah, I agree. Shooting in general, but that is definitely preferable. If we're talking about from the guard spot, I'm hitting up all teams who shit just didn't go right for. I'm starting with the Utah Jazz, of course, and we're having similar conversations, whether it be Colin Sexton or Jordan Clarkson. I'm hitting up the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'm like, yo, CJ McCollum looks like he has his priorities elsewhere. I heard he works at the NBA PA, and he's not doing necessarily what you guys want him to do on the court consistently. Get him in our hands. Okay, if that's not the case, fuck it. Hit up Washington, bro, and see if they'd be willing to give up someone like Jordan Poole, because he'd be also a picture-perfect fit. Okay, cool. If none of that fucking shit happens, hey, another team that's imploding in front of our eyes is the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm gonna somehow get Brook Lopez onto that court and let him fucking shoot threes, bro.
Not going there.
Bare minimum, that's what they would. It would be better with him on the court along compared to Wendell Carter Jr.
Nah, Brook Lopez is cooked. Brook Lopez is cooked.
Not when it comes to shooting.
Nope, he's cooked. We're not getting Brook Lopez in this team. Fuck no.
They need some shooting, bro.
D'Angelo Russell, free agency could be an interesting name for get him into a 6-man role if he doesn't have a robust market and he can't get starter money. That could be a good fit. You need a playmaker like him would help too, but he's a pretty good off-ball shooter as well. That would be helpful.
God, we're in the pits.
I don't think it's the pits. I think a 6-man D'Angelo Russell can be a.
When you're where the Magic are, there's no pits when it comes to shooting. Like obviously, you don't want D'Lo to be like the third leading scorer on your team or somebody that is gonna have the ball in his hands in crunch time. He's still a good NBA, like a solid.
Yeah, he can
player.
back up Jalen Suggs. That's perfectly fine.
He's better than what they have.
I agree. They need to do something similar to what the Detroit Pistons did last year in terms of just signing guys like the Tim Hardaway Jr.'s and Malik Beasley's, Tobias Harris.
Yeah, which that could
guys
be
who can
that
just
could
do
be
shit.
Torian Prince and Alec Burks. You usually fill that bench up and down the roster with veterans who can shoot. If you did D'Angelo Russell and Torian Prince,
So shout out Alec Burks, man.
Yo, he stayed with a check. He stayed with a job. He knows how to get paid.
Has to be a great guy. Just has to be like ultimate locker room vet presence.
they could sign
Love
Torian Prince, Gary Trent, and D'Angelo Russell. That's within reason.
That'll make them much better. Obviously, we're not like
Just
putting
be-
high expectations on them.
They're just the Disney World version of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, that's what they need to do though. They have like those aren't long-term answers, but they need short-term answers so they can see what they have with these two wings and put them in positions to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it really starts with stretch 5. Like it's always tough. We've been saying this to the Pelicans for years. You need a stretch 5. It's easier said than done, but you're not going to trade Franz. You're not going to pull that type of like extreme reaction out of
Not
this
just
season.
yet.
So the only way Franz is going to be able to be the co-star with Paolo is I think if you have a stretch 5. So get ready to get rid of some picks and probably get somebody that's not worth the picks you got to give up, but it is 100% necessary.
Get ready to speak Brook Lopez, buddy.
No, it's probably going to be Kristaps Porzingis, and they're going to have to pray to God that he's healthy. But
Just hope this is back-to-back years that Franz has shot under 30% from three.
Yeah. The microscope
30%?
definitely- Yes, I understand. The microscope definitely will be on him once they put the right shooting around him. Absolutely, I agree. But for now, just similar to John Moran, I'm withholding all of my harsh thoughts about trading someone like Franz Wagner until we equipped him with better pieces around him to make his game better.
Yeah.
If he's still able to at least shoot like 34, 35% from the three-point line, he's so out of here.
and this is a team that like they're really far, but they're really far in a way that's pretty clear in how to get there. Like they can make up that ground in one off season. Like they can do the Pistons thing and get enough shooting, which we act like the Pistons are an amazing shooting team now. They're not. So like it doesn't even take incredible shooting. It just takes competent shooting. Like you just need decent shooting to be able to make your star players be able to shine. And I think we all expect Paolo Banchero is going to make a big leap next year. He improved a lot over the course of the season. Still very flawed. Still has to make improvements that aren't a guarantee. I'm willing to take that bet, and I'm willing to take that bet even more if he has adequate spacing that the strengths can shine more than they were able to this year.
Please. Please just help him out. Help him out.
Of all the teams you mentioned, this is the easiest to fix. This are the Lakers, since the Lakers just get it big, and the Magic are just get shooters. Pretty simple. Like you have so much going for you. Some of these teams were asking them to move fucking hell on earth and figure out a way to build an identity. You both these teams, the last two we talked about, have your identity. Do the competent roster building to make that identity have a chance to shine.
It's very simple, but it's also kind of hard because it's like finding competent bigs and good shooters. Like everybody needs those, and so it's like those two things are always easier said than done. It's like when people are like, yeah, just get some high value like 3-and-D role players and stuff. It's like if everybody could find role players who shoot 40% from three and are great defenders, do you think that everybody would be struggling for them? No.
Yep.
It's a hard archetype to find.
I agree.
There you go. And that's it. That's our goodbye to these teams that lost in this first round.
Not talking about you for 3 months.
Yep. You guys done me talk about for a little bit, and that's what you guys have to think about for the next month and a half until free agency and the draft come around. Those are your biggest needs. And with that being said, that's the end of hour 2 of this show. End of the second block. It's time for everybody's favorite hour. Hour number 3, the one and only TikTok time.
Catch.
L hands.
Al hands, he threw it so low.
Try again.
Welcome to TikTok time.
Rejoice! We arm. March.
Welcome to TikTok time.
Woo.
Funny, I was waiting for it, man.
We here.
Ew.
And I'm just here for straight business.
All right, man. Today, we're going to start with some 2K talk. Specifically, I'm going to have you guys guess the NBA championship team by their 2K ratings. So these are going to be a variety of teams that won championships in the past, over the decades. Wide range of history here. I didn't go just recent. I didn't go just old. It's a nice combination of both. You guys will see their 5 players' 2K ratings from that year. Or if they're in the game this year as a classic team, it's from this year. A little bit of both, so it might make it a little bit harder because, sometimes 2K ratings are juiced now and they weren't back then.
Yeah, listen, 2K be playing by. I don't care. I'm locked in.
This is hard. I'm kind of scared right now. My knees are shaking.
Yeah, surely you'll do terrible, but we'll see. First off, let's get right into it. Who is this NBA team?
Damn. All right.
See, you hate the 2022 Warriors. This looks like that. Right?
No
this,
way.
This looks like a team. If you are a championship team and you have, I feel like all of these championship teams are going to have great players.
That 88 is a center, though.
Yes,
so that doesn't make
but
any
they're
sense.
not. Understand what I'm trying to put down, right? All of these really good players, not great players. This is a team that is bound together by the power of friendship.
Quick question. Are you fucking insane? Steph Curry's on the 22 Warriors and you think no great players?
And also, who is that goddamn center?
I'm saying overall.
Again, Steph
overall.
Curry's on that team.
He hates the 22 Warriors.
This is not
He
them.
says that team sucks. And for a championship team, I don't know. No 90s immediately.
Steph Curry's on that team. This is not the Golden State Warriors.
That's not my guess. That's not what I was saying. What I am saying is I'm thinking this feels like the 2004 Pistons.
Damn. I thought this would be the hardest one. First guess, he gets it right.
I had no fucking clue.
That's what I was trying to tell you. It's the power of friendship. Everybody's kind of equal. Nobody's great, but nobody's bad. But we're going to do this together.
88 overall. Okay, there we go. Shout out to you for carrying me. I needed that shit.
I thought that would be kind of hard with the 2 question marks. I put the question marks because those guys aren't in the game. They don't have the rights. So that's why I put them there because they don't have 2K ratings.
Oh, that's so embarrassing. Who are those 2 guys?
Rashid and Prince.
Damn.
They're not in the game. So, wow. I drew the hardest one first and you guys got it first guess. Okay, it's only downhill from here.
Come on, man.
Who is this team?
Woo, carried.
So
Carried
the best
heavy.
player on this team is their shooting guard, who has a 95 overall, 78 point guard, 80 small forward, 89 center. I didn't even see that shit. Holy fuck. All right, and 75 power forward.
Okay,
so
so
whatever.
they really said, point guard, you don't matter. You're replaceable. Power forward, we can get another one of you tomorrow. Shooting guard is 95. So we have to what? Oh,
Is this?
it clicked.
Yeah.
It clicked.
It was going in my mind. Get on a roll.
You want me to say it?
You say it.
Throw the lob. This is the 2006 Miami Heat.
Oh my God.
There we
This
go.
is the 2006 Heat. How did you guys get that one? What the hell?
It's kind of obvious. It was either the Heat in my mind or the Lakers, but I'm like,
Okay.
it doesn't make no damn sense for
Yeah.
Shaq to be 89 at that point.
Yep, we got the old man Shaq. The last year he was above an 85 or so. There he is.
Yeah, exactly. Easy.
Okay. Who is this team?
Even more replaceable at the point guard. 70 overall. Very close to a brown shirt. Generic.
No badges. Holy fuck. He's a doo-doo shirt.
No accessories, no tattoos.
No VC. You are, bro. Okay, 97 overall is insane. That means he's one of the best players in the history of this game.
That's what I'm saying.
At that 2 spot. This, to me, smells like... Is this the
Who we smelling?
Los Angeles Lakers?
No.
Could it not be them?
Or,
It's not like
oh wait,
2K10?
Maybe. Wait, no. Wait,
Could it be?
Oh, wait.
Wait,
hold on,
2010?
Hold on.
Yeah.
2010.
This is the 2010 Lakers.
Exactly. There's Bynum right there, I believe, at the center spot at 74. Then there's Pau Gasol, 97 Kobe.
Yep,
Makes sense.
Derek Fisher was a 70.
he was.
Damn. Oh,
That's
he has real
disrespectful.
beef.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
Wow. 70 overall is crazy. That threw me off. Like, we were railing on him too. We're like, yo, he's a brown shirt.
Meta World Peace 80. Pau Gasol 84.
Sorry.
70 overall for Derek Fisher?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yo, Matt Barnes beat he beat the overall points out of
He
him.
beat the attributes out of him.
Oh fuck!
crazy.
His passing IQ's on the floor.
Stop that shit too.
Not the close
loud.
shot. Who is this team? Team number 4.
Oh shit.
Star power forward, star 3.
Mhm.
So this
Dude, this star-studded as fuck everywhere. 85
No holes.
point guard, 87 shooting guard, 91 small forward. Power forward is a 95, 88 center. This is dominating, bro.
it is dominating. I feel like this one can get kind of tricky. I have an idea. Stay with me now. 95. This, if you think about like the best fours, right?
It's limiting.
New age of basketball, right? We're putting people in and out of position. I'm thinking this is the 2024 Boston Celtics, and that's Jason Tatum.
You guys haven't got a single wrong guess yet. This is the Boston Celtics.
I told you, stay with me now.
You're
Stay
cooking.
with me.
You are cooking. That had given them superpowers. Maybe the Knicks need to win.
Damn.
Fuck.
I'm just looking for at least one wrong guess, but
Not need
apparently
to.
you guys know everything.
Will win.
He's carrying me right now.
Yeah,
Shit.
stink. Which team is this?
Damn, a 96 center,
Best center. Okay.
83 power forward, 89 shooting guard sticks out, and the 84 small forward and 85 point guard. This
A
team is
dominant
great.
center, right? One of the best centers of all time.
It's not
But
a lot of those.
but the team is not a stinker around him.
Nope. Quite well rounded.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, really well.
My initial guess would have been like, oh my God, could this be the Denver Nuggets? But an 89 overall doesn't make any sense. KCP was not like that at all. And also Jamal Murray is better than 85. That automatically rules out. Who are some of the best centers in league history to win a championship?
Right. So obviously you have Hakeem, but that Rockets team is not looking like
That would
that,
be
at
crazy.
all. At all. They would have won 3 straight with that.
You got some 70s in the Rockets teams.
So we have the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. This could be like
Very
the
high up.
early Shaq Kobe Lakers before Kobe is like that.
Mhm.
Let's see who else. I mean,
I think those are the two options probably because there's no one in the 2000.
He might be going. Listen, he might be going way, way, way back. Black and white, civil rights segregation era. This could be Bill Russell in them.
I forget they did. They do give those guys stats. They do give those guys stats.
Bob Cousy is. I don't even know if Bob Cousy's in the game. Do you want to go Celtics or Lakers?
I feel more comfortable going towards the Lakers. This feels like a Shaq and Kobe type duo.
But the Shaq and Kobe, it was them. 85, 84, 83 is so well rounded. Like it has to be the Celtics.
Okay.
This is not Bill and him.
It's not Bill and them?
Nope.
Goodness. Is it Shaq and him?
It's not Shaq and him.
Ooh, our
It's
first
Tim and him.
miss.
Oh, the wrong one.
Oh no, it was Bill and them.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Oh, all right.
It was Bill
It's
and
out
them.
of order. It's out of order. This is Bill and him. This is the
There we
1965
go.
Celtics.
We are still undefeated.
Ah!
I was looking at the wrong one because it got out of order on the slideshow.
Yeah.
I was like,
Shout out to young Bill.
They could never put you to rest, Bill. You still alive in my heart.
Exactly.
we have a very well-rounded team. I thought Bob Cousy would be higher than 85 overall, and I thought John Havlicek would be higher than 84.
Yeah,
This is
that's surprising. Okay, there we go.
Wow, so you guys still got every single first guess correct, even when I thought you were
Undefeated.
wrong.
Never lost.
Damn, I got to make sure I'm looking at this list right. Next up, which team is this?
God damn, a 97 is crazy as hell.
At the center position?
And a 92 lead guard, 77 shooting guard, and 74 power forward, and a very solid shooting small forward at 85. It's a nice lineup.
It's a nice 1-3-5. 2 and 4 are some stinkers though. Again, replaceable. But if you think about, we have to do the exercise again. You think about the best centers in history: Shaq, Hakeem. Is this okay? So here's my thought. Right? Are they giving the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray some crazy tax for that?
Nah, because Aaron Gordon should no way in hell be a 74.
74
overall.
would be
That's
nuts.
insane.
Jamal
Hell
Murray
no.
92 would be even more nuts. That'd be insane.
That's what I'm saying. That's the tax. We could. This again is somebody playing out of position.
Could it be? You think so? Nah.
I'll say this: the power forward, I guarantee you've never heard of him.
Guaranteed.
Doo-doo garbage. 74. I guarantee you're right. I never have heard of him.
Take that for what you will. I 100% guarantee you do not know who that is.
Damn. All
See-
right, let's do this exercise again. Best bigs in history, all right? Fuck.
Jokic, Shaq, Wilt.
Could this be any of the Spurs years?
Could this be? Time out. I might have a crazy pull here.
Oh my god.
All right, pull it. You got the cowboy hat. Pull them bitches out right now, please. For the life of God.
Is that 92 Walt Clyde Frazier? And this 97 Willis Reed, and this is the old school New York Knicks?
No, Willis Reed is not a 97.
Oh, okay.
You think Willis Reed's one of the best players of all time?
Get the fuck off the girl.
I don't know what 2K is doing.
Not that.
I'm smelling a white flag, and I hope it is not true.
This is the 1971 Bucks.
Oh, fuck.
That's Kareem and Big
Oh,
O.
yeah. This is a wild miss on our end.
That should have been obvious.
Yeah.
We
That's
sold.
That's a wild
You said every
miss.
all-time big besides Kareem.
Yeah.
We
fuck.
sold.
If you would have said his name, it would have been abundantly clear.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, the 80. Yeah, they have. I can't even remember the power forward's name. It's somebody I could not remember. Next up, Redemption. Which team is this?
89 point
Led.
guard.
Okay, led by their point guard.
And their center at 88. Worst player here is a 77 at the power forward, 86 shooting guard, 83 small
We
forward.
got to think about the worst power forwards to ever win a chip. Where are we going? Okay, no, but 88 again. We still have to think about well-roundedness and these all-time teams. It's very weird though.
Yeah, this is damn, this is hard.
It is hard because if you go through the history, like this obviously isn't Shaq and Kobe. It's not LeBron. It's not Dirk. It's not Dirk. It's not D Wade. It's not the Raptors because Kawhi would have been healthier. It's not the Bucks. Yo, this is really tough.
Who is this point guard, bruh? He is fucking hooping with this. Big.
Oh, wait. You got to think about it. Could it be the Bad Boy Pistons? We're thinking about teams that are led by their guard. There's only two teams who have been led by their point guard, and we have the Bad Boy Pistons, and we have the Steph Curry Warriors. We're gonna go. You want to go?
Give me the Bad Boy Pistons. I think that's
First-
my only guess. Modern
All right.
NBA, this doesn't make any sense to me right now.
We'll do that. We'll go with the Bad Boy Pistons.
This is not the Bad Boy Pistons.
Oh, fuck me. Shit!
All right.
Damn.
Well,
That was so loud.
that's all we got. White flag.
Yeah, white flag.
2005 Spurs.
I was thinking the Spurs, but I guessed wrong. Fuck. Almost got the Spurs, man. Shit.
We're 0 for 2, man.
Yeah. It's okay.
Wait, is that right? That can't be right.
I mean, it would make somewhat.
They
Who was that?
They
three?
played Tim at the 5.
Yeah, who was that 3? I mean, who was that 2 though?
I suspect something got messed up here. I don't know. Unless when I wrote this down, I'm looking at the old game and the ratings were lower back then. So maybe no way Tim Duncan was an 88 in 2005.
Okay, yeah,
And,
because he was at
there's no way that 2005 Tim Duncan is the second best player on the team.
No,
Yeah,
something got
that's
messed
true.
up here. That can't be right. The graphic must have got fucked up. We'll give you guys a pass on that one.
Whew, sweet.
Which team is this?
It's like when the teacher messes up and they're like, all right, yeah, you guys got number 14.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how
free 2
that.
points.
Let me check.
Keep-
Hey,
Keep
I'm
we'll
keeping
take
my
all the
A.
points. You don't got to check none. Don't worry about it.
Keeping my A.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. All right. 93 point guard, 87
Two
guard.
Backcourt led.
Okay. 82 power forward, 77 center, 77 small forward. Huh. Oh, this very well could be the 2015 Warriors when Draymond and Steph just got onto the scene.
I'm going to trust
Bogle
you.
was there.
We'll go
and then
2015.
This is the
Harrison Barnes was
2015
there.
Warriors.
Yeah. Don't that just look like
Yeah,
some-
we're back. We're back.
Yeah. Don't this look like some ass right here too? Do you think you could win on this with this team confidently?
What? They won a championship. Yes, I think.
On 2K. Can you do that?
Again, 2015 Steph Curry was kind of different.
I mean,
Today.
I
you
could.
got it.
Maybe it's a skill issue. Next up,
guy
which
sucks.
team is this?
Fuck, 98? Don't mean no. Oh, this is easy right here to me.
Go ahead.
This 98 center, 88 point guard, 78 two guard. I know that 78 sticks out like a motherfucker too, just as much as the 98. This might be, psych, I lied, has to be the 2023 Denver Nuggets. Bring me up. Yes!
This is the 2023 Denver Nuggets.
Fuck out of here.
KCP shines.
Get the fuck out of here. Can't fuck with me. This is our game.
Okay. All right.
Didn't know you felt like that.
All right. Gross.
Okay.
Next thing we're gonna do. Let's talk about jersey retirements.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. Jersey retirements are so interesting because it could mean a lot of things. We've seen guys like Michael Jordan jersey get retired naturally by the Chicago Bulls and also by the Miami Heat for the most insane reason possible. Glazing is here, glazing is there. Could also mean through community-wise and really what this player meant for this team and what he did for this organization. Variables are kind of all over the place, but today hopefully try to find some consistencies. And I want to know if you guys think that this player jersey deserves to be retired.
Okay.
First up is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I mean, obviously.
Duh. He brought the team their first championship in 50 years. He's stayed loyal to them longer than he really has had to. We'll see how that holds this summer if that continues. But
I mean, really had to. It's been 4 years since he won the chip. Like,
no, but he's been opportunities for him to put pressure on the team, and he hasn't.
And he did.
Okay, never mind. You made them get a Dame, but he's been very vocally loyal. I guess I misphrased it. He has. He got what he wanted.
It's
he
so
stayed.
funny.
He hasn't given them any issues.
You always say this. No, he hasn't.
don't think so?
He's put vocal pressure on them every chance he's gotten. There's mad interviews where he's like, listen, I would love to stay here. But if I had to go somewhere else, I would.
Yeah.
No.
I guess I'm so used to like LeBron, who is like a lot more intense that I guess he has been subtle about it. Needless to say, he's remained loyal. He's been there.
He's fake humble.
Yeah,
Fake
LeBron got a whole bunch of goons around him to send out a ton of messages. Giannis is the goon himself.
LeBron doesn't do it either. LeBron
Not like him though. You're right.
LeBron famously is like, listen, I'm gonna need some stuff. And then after 4 years, oh yeah, I'm out. It's crazy. He's been in LA for like 7 years. This is the second longest tenure of his career. Why? Because he'd be moving around, he'd be putting on pressure, and people don't be fulfilling his requests. But outside of that, Giannis, again, his jersey should be retired.
The fastest.
But don't make him some saint though. He's not that. He's not that.
Second greatest player in team history, especially if he stays after the Dame injury. If he continues to be loyal when he definitely shouldn't,
That would be crazy.
it'll be an instant retirement. They might retire before he retires.
That would be crazy as hell.
That's glazing.
But hey, it's much deserved.
If he
though.
stays with Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr., it'll be deserved glaze because he'll be for the team.
I agree. That's one of the easier ones though. Next up, we got James Harden.
Well, there's an array of teams here.
Yeah.
The Rockets feels like a safe yes. Second best player they ever had. Won them an MVP. Took them close to a finals. Outside of that, the rest of the teams, hard no.
Yeah, I don't think there's a real conversation about OKC. Can't have him with the 76ers because, again, blender. Speaking of blender, the Brooklyn Nets are right there. Who the fuck knows?
They'd probably burn his jersey before they retire.
Wait, why would they burn his jersey? He didn't do nothing but just pull up.
They might retire it. Nobody could ever wear number one for them again. They don't even want to think about the
So they should retire if no one's gonna wear number one for them again.
Retire for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Thunder, they traded him too soon. They didn't give him a chance to build a legacy. Clippers, I mean, he got there when he was old. Post hamstring, not going to happen. Philadelphia 76ers, same thing.
Choked.
Do you think the Rockets would do it though with the way that he went out? Because he went out guns blazing as well.
He went out bad, but
he wore a fat suit. He went out more than bad.
Yeah, whatever. He didn't go out so bad that you can't forget it. He went out like run of the mill bad. Like they'll get over it in 5 years.
Yeah, I remember John Wall pulled up there for like their last saving grace move. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm so excited to pull up and win with someone like James." And then he just left like 2 days later for high and dry.
They thought it was gonna be John Wall, Oladipo, Christian Wood as like the next supporting cast.
And I think was DeMarcus Cousins there too?
I can't remember if he was there at the same time or right after, but he was definitely in that mix.
He might have just been in Houston, just around. He just needed something to do.
They thought this was gonna be the next era, and he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna be here. No, thank you."
Yeah.
But no, nevertheless, I think he's clearly a Rockets legend. Still should be remembered that way.
I agree. One of the greatest of all time. Draymond Green.
Why wouldn't they?
No, 100%.
I mean,
There's no question. It should be Steph Curry. And if you talk about this whole era, Steph Curry's jersey gets retired first. Draymond is the second one.
They might retire on the same day and get the jersey retired on the same day.
He as much.
No. Give Steph his day.
Give his own day.
Yeah, give Steph his day. Draymond can have his own day, but it'll be like 2 nights later.
2 nights, same
But
week.
yeah, but he has to, just so you know, everybody's in town, we can all celebrate. But he has
Thinking
to
about
have,
logistics here. Get the fuck out of here.
He has to have.
Guys,
It's so
team
hard.
later.
When you're an
jersey.
adult and you're post college, it's so hard to get your friends together in the same day. You got to do it the same week. You got to coordinate.
They're retired. They can't do the PJ life anymore. Commercial flights. I understand it.
Exactly.
But as much as he did help heighten the Steph Curry experience, he did cost them legitimately like a championship.
They have
maybe
4.
2.
Stop being greedy.
They did have 4, but it could have been 6, 7.
6-7 is
He
a
gave
bit
more
much.
than he
It's
took
a bit
away.
much. It's a bit much. But yes, his jersey is getting retired.
I agree with you. Okay.
Him, Steph, Clay, KD, Iggy.
KD?
Yes.
All right. Rudy Gobert.
I think it's gonna happen. Me personally, I probably wouldn't do it, but they're gonna do it.
Okay. Rudy Gobert.
Hell no.
What the fuck? He's one of the best defenders that we've seen in this generation.
Do you think Utah?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Fuck.
Hell no.
Why?
No. First of all, Minnesota isn't gonna do it. They haven't won anything. He hasn't been there for like too long. That's not the question. Utah is like, all right, fine, but like, no, they're not.
They have, since the Nasty Man and John Stockton days, they have nothing to hang their hat on at all. And he helped them bring them to relevancy.
They didn't make a conference finals.
So fucking what?
What do you mean? You said since John Stockton had nothing to hang their hat on. They don't got shit to hang their hat on with the Rudy Gobert legacy. Nothing happened from it.
They were a consistent, great
Second round exit,
regular
great.
season team. Yeah, those are great times for Utah Jazz fans. That was the last time we've seen them out and proud in the streets.
Retire
You
the
don't notice them
jersey.
anymore.
The one seed that one time. Retire the jersey. No, probably not. I mean, I guess they could if they just really like him, but this isn't, his resume doesn't necessitate they retire his jersey, and it's not like he's known as like, Utah loves him, he's all about the community. That's not really the conversation either, so probably not.
This guy don't think he's a Utah Jazz legend.
Do you? I love Rudy Gobert more than
is.
anybody, but I don't think they'd have to retire his jersey.
He's one of the best players of the history of their team.
That's not a high
Doesn't
bar.
necessarily mean it, but I mean, yeah, you're right. It's not high. He's the best center. Next up, we got Kyrie Irving.
So this is interesting. Obviously, the Nets would rather make his name illegal to be said. They'd rather make his name a registered slur that you can't say Kyrie or you get exited from the arena.
Slur in the city of Brooklyn.
Yeah, you can't say it. Mavs hasn't been there long enough. Celtics, big fuck no.
The Cavs gave
Cavs
away
drafted
their
him.
number, though, immediately the second that he left, and they gave it away to Colin Sexton.
They did. Right away, too, so you know it was petty. It was like the next year.
Yeah.
But he did win the championship. He was drafted. He's a big part of why they got LeBron James back to win that championship. The bridge wasn't totally burned. Like, it didn't go on a great note, but it wasn't atrocious like it was with like the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that in 10 years, they let bygones be bygones and they retire Kyrie's number.
I don't know.
I can see it, but I don't like
It
it.
could go either way.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very 50-50. I agree with you on that.
I'm not rocking with it. I'm gonna say if I had to vote like 100 times, I'd probably vote no more than yes.
But you want a chip, and you want a homegrown star that went to chip with you. I feel like that's kind of an automatic almost.
Yeah, I agree. And he played like the second most important part of that chip too.
He hit the shot. That's going to be all over the arena forever. That's going to be plastered all across the arena on all this art.
Yeah.
That means something for in terms of retiring a number. That's like a legacy for a team.
This is some of the greatest times of Cavs fans' lives, right?
I mean, it is the greatest time for.
And then he ended it himself. He decided it was over.
You know what?
For petty reasons.
You're talking me into it. Fine, you get your jersey retired. You got it.
So I won't be there, but I'll accept it.
I love it. Anthony Davis.
Absolutely not.
No?
No
You're
way.
not retiring his jersey?
No, not with New Orleans. No, with the Mavs, he just got there. No, the question is, does he get his jersey retired with the Lakers?
Yeah.
I would say no.
A normal team, maybe. The Lakers is such a high bar, and it's overshadowed by LeBron, who will get his jersey retired. Maybe they say, we did you so dirty, we traded you dead at night, we'll do you a solid, we'll remember you in Lakers history and retire your jersey. But I lean towards they probably won't.
Why do you think they won't? Is it because he didn't?
They got one chip, and
Yeah, but LeBron got one chip too.
LeBron's LeBron.
That LA tax is fucking crazy. AD.
now, if you ask me, right, I have different thoughts about the matter. But most of the guys that have their jersey retired, they've won multiple championships. Either you are the best player in the world at the time who restored the Lakers to relevancy in LeBron,
Yeah.
or you just people who are on that championship team. AD falls into the latter.
Yeah, you can only retire so many numbers, and they have a high bar there. LeBron's gonna be the one who gets remembered as the guy who brought them back, not AD. Whether that's fair or not, yeah, probably not. And the Pelicans, he burnt that bridge so unbelievably hard. He went out, blades of glory.
Oh yeah, the Pelicans retire for what? They have no business of retiring anything in that arena ever.
For beating Damian Lillard that one time. Shout out to Anthony Davis, Pelicans legacy.
I mean,
I feel like if
they
AD
beat him down though.
They did.
I feel like if AD was to get another championship with the Lakers, if he had done that, then I think he's a for sure yes.
Shoulda,
Have to
coulda,
be.
woulda.
Damn. Next, we got Jason Tatum. Early in his career, he's just 26, 27 years old. Already won a chip. He's been consistently first team All NBA. Historically, when it comes to his all-time stats, he's across the board, all over the place already for the Celtics. Consistent as ever. Been that star that they've been looking for.
Yes, of course. Easy.
It's 100% yes.
This
It's
is
happening.
the easiest one on the list. This is just as easy as Giannis. He was drafted to the team. He helped bring the team back into relevancy after a couple of years of having to rebuild. He was the rebuild. He is the championship window. He won them the finals. Nothing has been done to make him not be in consideration.
The KG Paul Pierce Celtics were so loud and so boisterous about the championship that you forgot it took 16 years between championships. It was a pretty long drought for Boston standards, and Tatum was the best player on that team. It would have been nice if he could have capped it off with the Finals MVP, but he's getting his jersey retired.
Yeah, he's probably going to go down as a top 5 to 6 Celtic of all time at the minimum if he doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, let's go 3 to 4.
Yeah. If he doesn't do anything else, if he left the team today, he'd be a top 5 to 6 Celtic of all time.
Okay.
And that's saying something because there's a lot of Celtics with some goddamn jewelry. So he's definitely a lock.
Okay, cool. Joel Embiid.
This is a fun one.
What about him? Because there's so much to talk about his career.
Probably yes. He didn't do anything to do the city wrong. He didn't leave the free agency. He didn't make selfless decisions that left him high and dry. He got unlucky. He got hurt, but he gave his all to the team. He played through injuries time in and time out. He became the MVP they drafted, they wanted him to be. He left his heart and body on the line for the Sixers. Absolute yes.
Absolutely yes.
For a Sixers perspective, like we're talking number what you do for the team, he did them right. He sacrificed a lot for them.
He's the process. He is the rebuild. He took them to heights in which they haven't seen in a.
He'll probably have a heart.
That's not true. That's not
He didn't take him to heights, but he's probably.
I forget they haven't gone to a conference finals here.
The heights he took him to aren't high, but as an individual, he's probably not going to be able to walk that well when he's 50, and it's because he laid his body on the line for the Sixers. They better retire his goddamn
When you
number.
talk about hopium, that is what Joel Embiid is to a core, to a T. He feeds the streets. He has a gang of dealers around, just serving it up every single year, every single offseason to these fans.
And he was a good source of it for them. He did them well.
I agree.
He did nothing to deserve not getting his jersey retired. He won them an MVP. Or he won an MVP in that jersey. Put his body on the line. His career is ruined, as they're speaking, because he played through injuries for this team.
And this guy don't want to retire his
He
jersey.
was hurt when they drafted him. like they knew that this was gonna happen.
Yeah, so why not retire him?
I feel like you are approaching this with the mindset of like you have to do something in order to not get your jersey retired.
When you're an MVP, yeah. When you're that great of a player, yeah. You didn't do us wrong and you're this amazing. You're the second or third most talented player we've ever had. Yeah, you got to do us dirty to not get retired. You're good enough to deserve it.
This entire Joel Embiid era is defined by disappointment.
What does that? That has nothing to do with the jersey retiring. That has nothing
That's
to do with
just
this conversation.
circumstances.
I'm not.
Shit just happened. That happens to every single organization.
I'm not sure. I'm still on the fence right now. I'm leaning no.
So you'd be
That's going to sound so outrageous in 10 years when it's all said and done. You're detached from the emotion. That's going to sound, when you see players that actually get their jersey retired, saying no to Joel Embiid because he didn't win at the highest level is outrageous, I think.
Call me in 10 years. run this back in 10 years.
We'll be here.
Next up, we got Devin Booker.
See, this is a fun one because this is kind of what you were talking about with Joel Embiid, but he's not as good as Joel Embiid, so I can understand your mindset more if you don't want to give it to him.
Yeah. He's in history, though, as well, again.
I don't know if I would retire his jersey either.
He's close. They got to the finals. I think it's clear now that's equally as much about Chris Paul as it is Devin Booker. So it's not like he drugged them there by himself, so it's not an automatic bid there. He's been really good, not one of the best players in the world. I have no idea.
He went through the mud with them as well throughout the first few years of his career. Was also one of those players early in his career to just consistently get snubbed for the All-Star game, and all the fans just were clamoring for years how underrated he has been throughout his career. I think, depending on what happens over the next 2-3 years, when the Phoenix Suns are at their absolute lowest to the point where they can't do anything, that probably will determine whether or not they retire his jersey.
Yeah, this to me, this isn't for me to say. It's not even for the front office. For the front office to say, you got to put a poll out, let the fans vote.
Yeah.
Instagram story vote.
Yeah,
He's probably going to stay here.
who want me? No.
If he stays for like 20 years, they'll probably do it. If he leaves this summer because shit goes sideways and they trade him, then no, but we'll see. It'll be a longevity play for Devin Booker.
I agree. DeMar DeRozan, a name you wouldn't think would be here, but it's
Brother,
here.
stop it. Listen, nobody should ever wear his jersey in the Drew League.
What?
In the Drew League,
So disrespectful.
All of these other places, you can wear number 10.
Low-key, I do think the Raptors should, just because he was so for the team and so loyal, and they traded him for Kawhi and immediately won. And
That's
it's like,
so
we need you.
bad.
They should do us all
happen.
like, you got us there, man. We salute you for getting us in the position to get Kawhi Leonard.
But you can't even do that because apparently now your global team ambassador said that he's gonna climb up and tear the jersey down himself.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
Drake said if his jersey ever goes up in the rafters, he's gonna climb up and tear it down himself.
Man, fuck Drake. Who gives a damn what he says? He don't even show up to games anymore, bro. He don't really ride for this team. Have you seen him at a Raptors game this season?
Hey, you better shut up before you don't show up in Toronto. You're gonna be in trouble.
Oh no.
The goons are gonna come after you.
Chubbs, no.
For that top five, gonna have top 5 banging on your van.
Exactly.
But no, I think the Raptors should. Who gives a fuck what Drake thinks? I think they should. But I can understand if they don't. But I have a feeling with the small market of Toronto, they love their stars. They love the guys that are loyal to
Small
them.
market, it's like a major world city.
Yeah, but in the NBA, it's not.
Yeah,
it's a team in Canada. It's not exactly.
It's just international. It's not small.
They're essentially the same thing. Yeah, small is the right word. I guess non-major. It's not a major market in the NBA by any means.
Yeah.
In terms of
They
media.
just don't really care about you in America. That's all. But
You don't care about them. You have made that part very clear. I think in terms of media markets in America, Toronto is an afterthought. So I think they're going to be pretty loyal to their stars over the years. They're probably going to retire more often than they won't. So it'll probably be a yes, I think.
It's gonna be. They made peace with Vince Carter. DeMar's probably gonna get his retired.
It's gonna take.
But
longer.
I would love to have a live cam just to see Drake eventually tear the jersey down. Have a camera on the jersey at all times. Is Drake a man of his word or not?
Ray Allen.
Hell no.
Is it gonna be hung up in the rafters?
Boston should do it.
Should they?
That's kind of iffy to me.
If you said Anthony Davis shouldn't get a jersey retired by the Lakers, Ray Allen damn sure shouldn't by the Celtics.
Yeah.
Why?
He's not cool with it. There's so many more reasons
No,
why.
They won the same amount of championships.
They made up. They made up for it.
They did, but
He won
it
the
took
same
some
amount of chips as
years.
AD. AD was a lot better and a lot more important to his team than Ray Allen was to the championship teams. I don't know why. Like that feels like a pretty clear similarity there.
The Lakers standard is a little
Yeah.
bit higher.
A little bit. They have fucking the same amount of chips.
No, but like
Less superstars,
but in terms of like the people whose jerseys do get retired, and at least for, like the Lakers were winning championships in every decade, so it felt pretty consistent. So if you're ever like, oh, they retire everybody's jersey, they always win, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was getting multiple championships. This 08 team, they loved them. Paul obviously got his retired. KG was only there for a small amount of time. He got the same amount of rings. If KG went up, I think Ray should go up.
But KG was the man.
Yeah,
Ray
I don't
Allen
think
isn't.
Ray Allen jersey probably gets retired.
It might in practicality because of what you said, the 2008 team.
Yeah.
I don't think it should if we're talking about like merit. But maybe if they retire KG's, maybe that's a good point. Maybe they will him too.
Rondo's is also going to get retired eventually too. I think Rondo.
He won a ring with the Lakers. That's kind of insulting.
I don't
me
think they care about that. They
In
don't
terms
care
of
about
like,
Listen, it was a dirty move, but also go get your money.
yeah, true.
But if Rondo ends up getting his jersey retired, I think eventually Ray will get his. But Rondo's will probably happen before Ray's.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that has to happen.
Who do you think would play Donovan in a biopic?
Donovan?
Come on, man. We talking about Ray Allen.
I just read a text.
Dude, there's so many good questions.
Someone said Anthony Mackie could play Donovan in a biopic.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
That's the last player for this segment.
I need to see answers in the comments.
Next thing we're gonna do. Donovan's like, damn, who's gonna play me in a biopic?
I know.
Oh, I forgot the one Benny said yesterday. Did you see that?
No, what did he say yesterday?
He said Anthony Anderson could play Donovan.
I missed that.
Anthony Anderson?
Wait, time I gotta
gotta
look
do
this
my
up.
He's the
real
dad
quick.
from Blackish. He can play Donovan in a biopic.
Look it up, chat. Y'all, we gotta look at. Oh, and I should know him, bro.
He did say it.
Passion wise, I like this.
Okay. Next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna name 2 NBA teams. You tell me who has the greater history.
Okay,
Let's
we're real historic today.
Yeah, so which team has more legacy points? When all things considered, not just who has more championships, which franchise has a bigger stamp on the history of the NBA?
Okay, let's do
Let's
it.
go.
Warriors or 76ers? This is tough because the Warriors' success is all recent, but my God, they are the most dominant in a decade you could imagine.
If you have to go with the Warriors to have Steph Curry, who changed the game.
Yep.
To have KD and have also possibly the best team of all time.
Yeah.
You have two players who are top 10 arguably. Draymond Green, one of the greatest defenders of all time. You have Klay Thompson, one of the best shooters of all time. Everywhere you look, there is one of the greatest of in NBA history on the Warriors.
Along with that too, the best way for me to digest this question is asking myself, who can I delete from the history of the NBA without feeling the least effects? And
Not
I
the
think I
Warriors.
can get rid of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah,
with
their
that.
best era in the 80s isn't as good as the Warriors' best era. Anywhere close. And outside of that, neither one of them had super strong second eras. So, feels like the Warriors pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree.
The Pistons or the Heat? Bad Boy Pistons had hugely impactful for the 80s. The Heatles in Miami in the 2010s was important. What Dwayne Wade did before LeBron James, getting to 2 finals with Jimmy Butler, that's some sustained excellence, especially for an expansion team.
Detroit always feels like it's Detroit versus everybody, and they're always like the underdogs. And they're gonna feel like this again because it's the Miami Heat. Because shout out to the Pistons, but their back-to-back is kind of the like forgotten dynasty in the
You're
league.
right.
You get the 04 Pistons, who everyone's like, yeah, good for them, but they weren't that good or whatever. The Heat, anytime that you have LeBron involved in whatever operation that you have, it's going to be one of the most important. You have Pat Riley, one of the most important figures in NBA history. You have Dwayne Wade, third best shooting guard of all time. It's them.
They've accomplished a lot in a way shorter period. They're a way newer franchise. That makes it more impressive to some extent.
Yeah, I agree. The names on their roster throughout the years, the LeBrons, the Shaqs, D Wades of the world, Chris Bosh, they just don't
Number 3.
align with what they got. What the
No, he's
Pistons have to
definitely said it
offer.
like 7 times today.
Who?
Of the world. That was like your 7th of the world.
The
today.
Kings or the Clippers?
Ooh, man.
Gutter time.
See, this is really, really hard.
Trench time.
I think I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
These are perhaps the least impressive 2 histories in the franchise in the association.
I think
I'm going with the Clippers. The Clippers are the only franchise that have their owner like they have the worst owner in the history of the league.
They do.
yeah.
But I think both these teams. Well, actually, no, I was gonna say both only have 1 conference finals appearance, but that's not true because way back in the day, the Kings had some success. The Kings probably win this because of their success in like the 60s.
God damn.
With
Are we
Ted-
really giving
And the
this to them?
2000. I mean, the Clippers just got to a conference finals in 2021, and they haven't had an extended period, right? All that like Lob City stuff. Again, a era defined by disappointment.
But that's needed disappointment in NBA history to me.
You said what?
That's needed disappointment in NBA history.
Why? Why is it needed?
They're a staple of NBA discourse when it comes to team building. We saw for one of the first times in the early 2010s where they had like real life cap issues and they had to parse whether they wanted to talk or whether they wanted to get rid of the DeAndre Jordan or pay someone like JJ. It was, to me, I think they are more relevant in my mind compared to the Kings.
Well, that's because the Kings' success all came before 2010.
And
So that's why they're more relevant to you.
but that's also why, again, the Clippers. Have you ever seen a team revolt against their owner pre-playoff game?
Again,
They almost didn't play the playoff game.
That's low-key like a pivotal moment of modern civil rights to get Donald Sterling up out of here as a coup. So maybe they win.
No, I agree with you. Adam Silver's first move was getting Donald Sterling out the paint. He kicked off his commissioner era
Honestly-
saying like, hey, this guy got to get out of here.
If you
Pivotal
don't
moment
pick the
in NBA
Clippers,
history.
honestly, if you don't pick the Clippers in this question, you kind of stand with racism.
You know what you are.
Yeah, so if you don't pick the Clippers, you're the problem.
Think about that.
move.
Deep bet. The Clippers win. Sorry, Kings. Sorry, Nate Archibald. The Lakers or the Celtics? The obvious one we had to talk about. The 2 most winningest franchises of all time. Who has a greater history?
This is so 50.
Well, that's a question. Greater history. What does that mean to you?
So fucking 50-50.
This is extremely tough.
It's glitz and glamour, finding ways to replenish the star power over the decades every single time versus getting it out the mud, building the right way over and over again, but to the same success level.
Oh, this is so hard because I don't want to disrespect Bill Russell.
Yeah, Bill Russell alone might be enough to like trump this whole argument for the Lakers.
But also like the Celtics and what they were doing in the early Eastern Conference, obviously very, very dominant in the 60s, and they were battling with all the Eastern Conference teams. The Lakers have been the premier team out west for as long as they've been out there. And for them to come in, change the game, change like the entertainment game. You always have a star. You always have one of the 10 best players. Think about it. Whenever any star starts to get unhappy, we're like, oh yeah, they're gonna go to the Lakers because that's where stars end up. Like they are the pipeline for the platform in the NBA.
The 1980s Celtics are just as successful as the 2000s Lakers. I think that's like comparable dynasties. I don't think the Lakers have a stretch like. I feel like the 60s Celtics are more dominant than the 80s Lakers, like in the second stretches. So maybe you can go towards the Celtics in that regard. But then again, you get to the point like 60s NBA. Do we respect it? Do we not? I don't know. Like people are going to say plumbers.
I think, well, it's kind of even because if you say 8 chips.
Then you go to Minneapolis. Yeah.
Well, no. Even if you go 8 chips in the 60s, if you account for like, player inflation and all that stuff and like the how the game changes, 8 chips in the 60s is probably the same as like 5 in the 80s.
What the fuck is that? What is that calculus? I don't know. What is that math? I don't know.
When it comes to dead periods of organizations and how long it takes for them to rejuvenate and restart, I think the Celtics, because of the off-season drama that continuously happens with the Lakers, I might give this to the Lakers for the sake of their rebuild period, time and time again, is shortened compared to what it really should be compared to the rest of the NBA, including a team like the Boston Celtics.
What does it got to do with how great their history is, though? It's about accomplishments.
If you have like a consensus top 10 players in the NBA, in NBA history, 4 to 5 of them played on the Lakers with LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem, Magic.
Okay, so if we're going to go on players that define the history of the game, more of them defined it in the Lakers uniform. It's a volume play. Volume of stars. Is the accolades are the same. The clout is the same. Lakers got volume of stars. That might be the only tiebreaker.
And like, yes, they have that, but they also all won championships in a Lakers uniform. So you have the best players of all time being at the top of the mountain in a Lakers uniform.
Sounds like we have the correct answer here. Sorry, Celtics.
Damn.
Don't tell me anything about Indianapolis. I don't want to hear it. Don't care. The Mavs or the Rockets? Who's the most clouded out of Texas?
It's the Rockets, I think.
Yeah, probably the Houston Rockets.
They went back-to-back, whereas the Mavs only won one in 2011. Mm-hmm. That's an immediate tiebreaker. Outside of that, it's not terribly. It's kind of similar.
Nah, the Mavs pre-Mark Cuban are known as like an abomination, an embarrassment of a franchise.
They were like the definition of disappointment and just like why.
Yeah, and even with Dirk, you have one championship, and Dirk his whole career, like he only played with like one All-Star his entire run. Like they consistently did not have the guys alongside with him. And also Hakeem is just higher than Dirk all time. So like you have all time. And you just traded away Luka Doncic. I'm sorry, you can't win.
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
You can't win.
Yeah.
Your history cannot be considered great when your second greatest player got unceremoniously fired. You lose automatically. Even if it's a short-term overreaction, right now's the time to overreact.
You traded the 26-year-old 5-time first-team All-NBA. Oh
who
my!
Just
you got
freshly took you guys to the NBA Finals.
You got given a second Dirk and you gave him away.
Embarrassing. Shout out to the Rockets. Yeah, they always have talent coming around and they try their best to hold on and maintain them. Whether it be James Harden, Yao Ming, T-Mac, Clyde, or Hakeem or whatever. I said Clyde, but Hakeem or whatever it is.
Clyde was there.
Yeah, I mean they got Clyde.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah.
Magic or Grizzlies?
The Kenny Smiths of the world.
Magic or Grizzlies?
It's the Magic. The Grizzlies. Shout out to y'all.
They just got here, bro.
It's another one where
so
like
the Magic. They both are expansion teams.
It's another one where it's like to Memphis. I'm glad you guys like your team. Orlando has been to multiple NBA finals. You've had Shaq on there. You've had Dwight. They've had a bunch of. You've had T-Mac. The Magic, I think, are
People
very
don't
clear.
think about this a lot because it can't happen anymore. It is quite hilarious they lost Shaq after 4 years. Like, they really fumbled Shaq to a degree.
True.
I mean, nobody talks about it because you can't lose a rookie like that anymore. But they lost him after 4 years. That's crazy.
How embarrassing.
Their pockets just weren't deep enough to keep Shaq. How embarrassing.
Yeah, it's the Magic. It's the Magic.
It's still the Magic. But just know that's quite embarrassing.
It is, but
And we respect grit and grind. But you never made it to the finals, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, even Dwight made it to the finals. 2 final trips.
and they
I
don't
guess
even have the all-time players to match up
Yeah.
with them either. Like,
And your all-time jerseys from Memphis are from Vancouver. It's not even from Memphis.
it's not even
Tap.
Your legacy is built over the border.
Tap.
Your legacy is being tariffed.
Talk
Spurs
about
versus Bulls.
it. I mean,
I'm just gonna lean
it's
the Bulls.
The
because-
best, the most popular player in NBA history played for the Bulls. Like they
Yeah.
kinda got it.
Yeah, one of the most important players of history.
But if you're going to
Easily
rival
the
them, the
Bulls.
Spurs are a close one. Like, so we're talking about who has a greater history. Yeah, they won the 6 rings with Michael Jordan. That's obviously like the peak you can possibly have for a decade. The Spurs almost matched that accolade-wise without the greatest player of all time. And they
Over
did over a
20 years.
long stretch of history. They replenished their star power over and over. One could argue that's more impressive.
One could, you're right, but I think when it comes to dealing
20-year
with
dynasty.
the feats of someone like Michael Jordan, bro, like this
I still got more chips than 8.
yeah, outside of the Lakers and the Celtics, I don't know if any other team in the NBA can compete in terms of overall greatness with the Bulls. Just hard to do that.
We hate fundamentals. We don't respect doing it the right way.
It's Michael
We
Jordan.
don't respect longevity.
It's Michael Jordan.
Let's compare Tim Duncan jersey sales versus Michael Jordan's.
Oh, God. The Pelicans versus the Hornets.
You can like kill both of these organizations right now, and we wouldn't even know what happened. We wouldn't even talk about it, bro.
I don't even know where to begin.
Okay, this is what it boils down to. You have the Hornets, who are defined by a veto trade,
Okay.
versus, or I guess New Orleans, right, defined by the veto trade, versus cool starter jackets in the 90s for the Hornets.
That fashion is the peak of the Hornets' relevance.
That is really it. What matters more?
We don't know about it because we weren't there, but teal was so popular in the 1990s. They were everywhere. They were probably more fashionable than the Bulls in the 90s.
Shout out to Grandmama, man.
Yeah,
Very,
Shout out to the Fresh Prince. He's probably wearing lots of teal.
oh my God, bro.
I guess
I
we'll go
don't
the Pelicans. The Pelicans had Chris Paul. They had Anthony Davis. They had the failed Zion experiment so far. They had talent injections over the years, I guess, that gave them a little bit of something. The Hornets have been, for my entire life as a fan, completely irrelevant.
Shout out to Kemba Walker and that
but
one
they had
All-Star
those
team.
throwbacks though.
Yeah, it's pretty. Ugh. It's so crazy to say that I was about to say it's pretty easily the Pelicans.
Two
Like,
of the
that
worst
shouldn't
ownership
be
groups
that.
in the NBA, too. Like, I guess that Jordan doesn't own them anymore, but Jordan was a fucking awful owner. And the people that own the Pelicans also aren't great.
Again, another reason why you had the greatest player of all time own the Hornets and lead them to absolutely nowhere. That disappointment could leave a stain on the league.
Tough. Raptors versus Nuggets.
Canada, man.
They both got their one chip. The Nuggets got it with their franchise icon. The Raptors got it with a mercenary. The Raptors have cooler branding. They represent a whole country.
It's a whole country.
The Nuggets have a longer history, though. They have eras. They
Why
have Alex English.
do Canadians try to put themselves in these conversations first, man? But you know what? It's for good reason. They actually earned it. The Raptors, the jerseys is just it boils down to that. Do you want the Raptors throwbacks or the Nuggets baby
You're
blue?
deciding via jersey.
I mean, the histories are pretty similar. Like it's
I don't know. I mean, the Nuggets do have like the 80s and 90s, like Alex English into Melo, into Jokic. Like, they have multiple eras of stars. They only won with one of them.
you don't really think about the Nuggets
They're
like
just
that,
there.
that way. Like shout out to y'all. You guys have been really good, but like altitude's hard to play in, I guess.
Jokic is the best player on here. He's going to leave the biggest mark on these teams.
Which championship was more impressive, 2023 or 2019?
Yeah, and like which stories were impressive? The one of the greatest offensive players of all time, or one of the best 1-year runs of all time with the mercenary?
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's the mercy. This was a team, and granted, LeBron left the conference, but they were getting destroyed year after year after year, and said, "Kawhi, come in," and then they got a chip, like instantly got over the hump.
no,
took
they
no
did
time.
have like insane injuries happen to the team that they're facing. I will say that. Still impressive nonetheless when it comes to how they got there, though. And then for the Denver Nuggets, too, they face the Miami Heat in the finals.
Not the conversation for
Listen,
today.
Jersey,
Not
okay,
important.
jerseys aside, sorry, Canada, you lose again. I'm going with Denver.
There we go. Finally, we got to the part that matters. Bucks versus Knicks.
Damn.
Two very old, storied franchises that have been around for a long time. Which one are we going with?
It's very clearly the New York Knicks. Like
What?
Basketball-wise, it should be the Bucks.
No,
but
it is absolutely no contest is the New York Knicks.
no contest is
No, it's
insane.
New York Knicks because they're based in New York and they
Yeah.
have a big market and lots of fans. The Bucks won a chip in the 70s, won a chip in the modern
Okay,
era.
thank you for giving me the reasons why it's the Knicks. When the Knicks
Clout
are,
is not a good enough reason when the other team has chips and accolades and stars.
First of all-
and impactful basketball.
first of all, they have the same amount of chips. Let's get that straight.
two different eras of chips.
They're not weighed the same.
They just got their first chip in 50 years. What do you mean?
They got one 50 years
And
before
when-
that.
Yeah, exactly.
For the last 50 years, the Knicks have had more championships than the Bucks.
That is crazy mental gymnastics. They have the same amount. Who gives a fuck about the last 50 years? Like, that's such a weird way to phrase it.
They just tied the game. What is
But it's a tie.
Just now, and then if
we're talking about the history of the league, and now you're like, oh yeah, don't pay attention to the last 50 years when
Well,
they
no.
had more championships.
But you said it the same, and then you said if you before the last one it was 50 years. Well, who cares? Now it's the same. I'm just trying to find a reason to hate on the Knicks. If you can't tell, I'm grasping for straws. Come on.
Even when the Knicks are bad, Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, is the playpen. It's the show. It is the stage for all of the best players in the world to come on and put on their best performance.
That is
the
very
Knicks
true.
always matter whether they win 17 games or 50. It does not matter.
Yeah.
But do they matter because
Yes,
of
they
like
matter.
actual basketball
They matter.
reasons or just where they're
Yes,
at
they matter.
location wise?
They matter.
So the
I
winning,
feel like that's a weak argument.
okay. The winning's
'cause,
the
like,
same, and the top end players are better on the Bucks.
Yeah.
Giannis would be the best Knick of all time by far. Kareem would be the best Knick of all time by far. So they have the player legacies. They have the championships are equal.
Kareem got his and then was like, yeah, I don't
Nevertheless, he got it.
I don't want to be here.
Nevertheless, he got it. If Giannis wore blue and orange, he'd be talked about like he's LeBron. The Knicks clout would take him to the top.
Yeah.
He'd be by far the best Knick of all time.
And that is why we matter. That's why we matter.
Yeah, because y'all are Hall of Fame when it comes to clickbait and just talking about nonsense.
That's y'all. That's everybody else. Everybody else uses Knicks for clicks. That's everybody else.
I'm not hearing a good reason besides New York is a big city.
Yeah, me personally, I think when it comes to the history of basketball, like aside all the mumbo jumbo that be happening outside of the court, the Milwaukee Bucks are much more important to NBA history.
Are y'all stupid? What are you talking
I'm
about?
telling you the truth,
What are
brother.
you talking about?
The Milwaukee Bucks are much more important.
I'm joking. I'm trying to find a reason to hate on the Knicks, but the Knicks aren't that important to basketball history. New York is important to basketball history because
Yeah.
they're New York, but like the Knicks franchise is not terribly consequential outside of the clout. So like,
Okay, but that comes with it.
yeah, but like the clout isn't basketball related. So like we're not talking about the most relevant franchise. We're talking about the greatest histories, whose accolades and who's like accomplished more organization wise. So I don't care about the New York clout. I'm open to reasons for the Knicks, but because we're popular is not the one.
Yeah. Y'all can't even fuck with them jersey wise too.
Damn sure.
Oop.
Mm.
It did. There you go. Eat up.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie.
Here we go. It's the Bucks.
You might have ate that one little thing. Okay.
No
Like, you
crumbs.
might have clocked it, but that's fine. But that's fine.
I started off trolling, but by the end, I think the Bucks win.
Darian.
Here we go.
Next thing we're gonna do, NBA Keep 4 Cut 4 is stable. We're gonna do Keep 4 Cut 4 with scores from across history. Just how good they are scoring, not how good they are as a player overall. Just their scoring bag.
All right.
Keep 4 Cut 4.
Okay.
First
cool.
name, Kevin Durant.
We gotta keep him. Easily keep him.
Listen, if you ask me on maybe 3 days out of the week, I'll tell you that Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer in NBA history.
I'll tell you that's wrong, but he can certainly be top 5.
Yeah, no
But
one's
that'll
gonna
be
look
right
at
on
you
the other
crazy.
4 days of the week. But there's some days where you watch Kevin Durant when he's on and you're like, oh my goodness, nobody has ever scored the basketball easier than he has.
Yep. Steph Curry. Remember, it's just as a scorer, not as a playmaker, not as a gravity.
Again, when it comes to just getting buckets, he also belongs in the same conversations. Maybe not same, similar conversations as KD.
How do you score the ball?
Put the ball in the hoop.
Exactly.
This man does it at one of the most efficient rates that we've ever
Yep.
seen. We have to keep him.
Yep. His 2016 season is like by far the highest efficiency volume scoring season of all time. His true shooting was like 8% higher than league average.
Man,
Paul George.
cut that man.
Immediate cut.
Cut that man.
Cutting
Just,
so fast.
just next name. Next name.
No words. No explanation.
Damn. You don't want to give him a single thought?
Next name.
I love Paul George, but I can't do it at this state. Too disgusting.
Damn. Patrick Ewing.
I'm sorry. Just cut him. Just get out of here. It's okay.
On the day the Knicks go up 2-0, you don't want to defend a Nick?
Stop it. Just
See,
keep
at least
keep
more. At least
keep
touches
him-
back to that Knicks versus Bucks conversation.
Keep
Bro. I'm
him
telling you.
Okay. The name we got to talk about, Carmelo Anthony.
And that's why. And that's why.
You're going to keep him?
Yeah, we're keeping Carmelo.
There's only 2 spots left. We're doing all time.
Listen, you and you. See, I understand it because I've seen it. But y'all may not get it. The levels to which he scores. It transcends 3 dimensions, right? It goes into the 4th dimension.
He said, "Word to modest, not even 4th, 5 dimensions."
Exactly. There's so many levels. There's so many intricacies. It's, oh my goodness, you could teach a class on it and still not know how he scored that well because it's so singular. We got to keep Carmelo.
Do you want to cut Carmelo more than he wants to keep him? Is your dog higher than his dog right now?
For the sake of embarrassment,
Can you score without
on your
dribbling?
end, yeah, I've done it before,
No, you can't.
plenty of times.
No, you
But
can't.
for the sake of embarrassment on your end, we can keep him.
Okay. Oh, keep him. You should keep him. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Jab.
Nikola Jokic,
Oh my God, you just fucked me already.
as a scorer, way more efficient than Melo. It doesn't look quite as pretty.
Guess what? We're keeping both of them. Now what?
You're the last spot. There's only just 2
Oh my
left.
gosh.
Yeah.
You're going to cut the last 2 people. Mo? You want to let him keep
Nah,
Nikola Jokic?
I did this to him last time. It's on you.
I can't. It just doesn't feel right cutting away someone like Nikola Jokic who does it all around. He
You
just
already
saw
messed it
40%
up.
from the 3-point line, bro. You cooked us. And I was waiting for this moment, and here we are right now.
Again, if you are a man, you have to have principles sometimes. And if Carmelo Anthony comes up as a scorer, I'm keeping him.
So who did we fumble?
Second to last name, James Harden.
Yeah, cut that.
No, man. Hell no.
Cut that.
What?
It's too late. It doesn't matter.
I'm so cool with that.
And the very last name
Michael Jordan.
was Dwayne Wade.
Oh yeah, we got that. I feel good about this.
Why? Why do you feel good about
This
this?
is horrendous. Cameras are on you. You explain this shit. Not me.
I feel perfectly fine with this.
Listen, without the Melo thing, you guys would have had a good list if you would have kept one of those last 2 guards over Melo. But it's not the worst in the world, I guess. But it's not pretty.
Melo just sticks out like a sore thumb to me, man. He do not belong there.
Sore
Durant,
thumb.
Curry, Jokic, Melo.
I mean, I guess you could say Melo and Jokic here. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to navigate the conversation without being yelled at by a certain group of people either way I go. So I'll keep my comments to myself.
Yeah, Melo's
That is an incredibly difficult conversation to have.
Melo's a better. Jokic is a better scorer. That's it. That's it.
Like,
Yeah,
he is.
You can say that.
He is, but like that's not going to be accepted for a vast majority of people.
They could take that. I don't give a fuck. I'm not looking for acceptance here.
You ever score 50 points? No free throws?
I scored 61 on 2K.
Did you shoot free throws in that game?
Nope.
Yes, you did. Carmelo Anthony ain't done that.
Okay. The last thing we're going to do. We'll play a game of 15 questions, actually, not 20. You guys have 15 questions against the NBA player I'm thinking of.
Okay.
You
guys
have
ready?
your name?
I have my name.
Ooh,
15 questions.
Is this a current player?
This is a current player.
Nice. Is he in the playoffs currently?
No, he's not.
Fuck. I shouldn't have asked that question. Should have asked if he participated in the playoffs. Fuck.
Too bad.
Terrible stuff.
All right.
Did this player make the All-Star team this year?
He did not make the All-Star team this season.
Huh. Does he play in the West?
Yes, he plays in the West.
Okay.
Is this player a starter on his team? Oh, a majority of the time.
Yeah. He started this year.
Okay. He's a consistent starter.
Consistent starter.
Huh.
Not an All-Star though. All right, we got 10. Let's lock in.
You got 10 left.
Whew.
One
Okay,
third
that's
of the
a
way
lot.
through.
That's a lot. Okay.
Pressure's on.
You got next question.
Okay.
On question 6.
Is he a wing?
Yes.
That's a weird question.
Yes.
Okay, he's a
Okay.
bigger player.
Okay, got you.
Bigger player in the Western Conference.
How do you
Is
feel about
not in the playoffs
like a
currently.
champion question? Do you feel good in that? Do you think that's going to narrow it down?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Has this player won a championship before?
This player has won a championship.
Okay, there we go. Let's really lock in
We're
now.
at 7 questions. About halfway through.
Jesus.
Okay, champion, starter,
In the Western Conference, he
Not-
currently
not
is
in
not
the-
in the playoffs.
not in the playoffs right now.
currently.
I feel
Okay.
like we do have to cut it down and ask if his team made the play-in or better, just to get clarity to see if, because if not, then we can knock out like 6 teams.
Okay, go ahead.
Did this player's team make the play-in or better?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
So
Okay,
so
cool.
play-in or better, they've been eliminated. That's 6 teams right there.
Okay, so
Because they're not in the playoffs. So we have the Rockets. Who's out? We have the Rockets,
the Lakers.
the Lakers, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Mavericks, and the Clippers.
Okay,
They've
So
won a
I'm leaning
championship before. They are a starter.
towards the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay,
Clear cut.
Shit's mathematic.
it is.
Running it down.
It's either Shun the Dark. Wait, should I shoot this shit or not?
Go ahead.
Going to. Is this Anthony Davis?
No.
That's not a wing.
Nothing about Anthony Davis
Oh,
made
you're
sense
right.
to be the right
Fuck.
answer.
I thought in terms of wing, I was like, okay, he's a bigger player.
How
Not
many,
what
how
that
many
means.
questions do we have left?
That's 8.
Okay.
Or is that 9?
Okay, again. Clippers, Rockets, Lakers, Kings. Nobody on the Kings has won the
No
championship.
one on
Goddamn
the
right,
Clippers
nobody's on there won.
won the championship other than Kawhi.
Nobody on the Rockets
And
has
Norman
won a
Powell.
championship. Actually, well, Jeff Green is, but he's
Kawhi.
not a starter.
Norman Powell.
Nobody on the Grizzlies has done it. The Lakers,
Did we ask if he's been an All-Star?
he wasn't an All-Star this year. So on the
Oh,
Lakers,
okay.
we think about the wings on the Lakers. Who's on that 2020 team?
Is it Kawhi?
No, wait.
He wasn't an All-Star this
Go
year.
ahead, ask.
Is this Kawhi Leonard?
No.
Damn. Okay.
Incorrect.
Are we selling?
Potentially.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Time is ticking right now.
You guys are. If you guys don't get this, it'll be baffling. You guys have narrowed down the team so well. I will be embarrassed for you if you
It's
don't get
not
this.
Kawhi, not AD.
Again,
It
Clippers.
just can't be LeBron.
If you don't lock in and get it right now, I'm not going to be able to go outside with you for at least a week.
Again, Clippers, Kings, Rockets. But nobody on the Rockets has won.
Sure about
Well,
that?
Fred,
This could be Klay Thompson.
go ahead.
Shit, I'm shooting off all my. This is Klay Thompson.
This is Klay Thompson.
There we fucking go.
Finally. I was like, how are we not
Finally.
getting there?
Shout out to fucking Klay, man. Damn.
New haircut and everything.
I don't know why those videos are so funny.
Because they're just so still.
Yeah, like, they're trying so hard to not
Yeah.
look at the camera.
Last thing we're going to do. Well, I think I said last thing for that, but I forgot one more thing.
Liar.
I know I'm a liar. Let's go through and pick the best scorer in the NBA currently for every single position.
Okay.
So, point guard through center, who is the best at scoring the basketball right now?
Point guard, I'm just gonna show this guy hella love right now. Jalen Brunson.
No. I mean, he's up there. Shea's
I
the MVP.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Shea-
Shea,
Shea
I
is
was
like-
I was just trying to.
I appreciate
Give you some respect.
I appreciate you.
Salute, but no. It's either it's Shea, or if you want to argue, Luka still deserves a crown. But I think for this year alone, we can give it to Shea. He's earned it.
For the last 2 years,
Yeah.
we can give it to Shea.
Okay.
I mean, Luka was a scoring leader last year, but most recent year wasn't on Shea's level. He'll get back there, but for now, it's Shea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shooting guard, fun one.
I think it's Anthony Edwards. Seems pretty easy. Devin Booker had a down year. Not wildly down.
Yeah, I mean, the 3-point shooting leap of ant is ridiculous.
Yeah.
In between game because it isn't quite as high level. Like Donovan Mitchell has less of a load this year, so the numbers are down.
Yeah, he averaged like 23 or something.
But he's
like
probably still the more complete scorer. But
He
the
also-
averages aren't there.
But he also did just score 48. So, like, when asked upon, he definitely can do that. But they won 64 games. He didn't have to do too much. But I still think Ant being one of the best downhill scorers and just being like, you know what? I'm also going to be one of the best shooters in the league. I think it has to go Ant right now.
Yeah, if Ant's going to shoot 42% from 3, we'll trust that he'll, when the games matter, he'll do the inside the arc stuff. We'll give it to Ant.
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Small forward. This is interesting. LeBron's not in the conversation anymore. I guess KD might be. Tatum scoring isn't his most consistent attribute.
No, and that's why, as long as Kevin Durant's in the league, he has to be on your top scorers list.
Yeah,
I agree. KD's the easy answer for me.
it's hard because he's not one of the most dominant individual scorers anymore. Like, it doesn't lead to wins quite as well. But who else would you give it to at this position? I don't know.
So you put anybody on the Phoenix Suns team, you're not going to lead anyone to wins anymore at all.
Yeah, well,
That's true.
both are true. Both are true.
That's true. Yeah, but KD's the pick.
Okay. Power forward.
Giannis, that's such an easy answer for me.
Oh, yeah, it is incredibly easy. He's
wow.
Yeah.
every year, over 30 points per game. Nobody cares. Never touches an MVP, but he's clearly the best scorer.
Yeah, and
there.
he proved his mid-range shot too this year. Shot like, I think 43 or 44% from that field. One of the better percentages in the league. It's Giannis.
No competition, really. I can't even think of a close second.
No, he
Yeah.
got it. And listen, it's honestly, it's the same for the center.
Unless we include, Kevin Durant's kind of a power forward, so unless you put him there, but
The names after that is like, I don't
Let's make it
know.
easy. Let's make it
Okay.
easy. KD at the 3, Giannis at the 4.
okay.
Yeah.
Center. Once upon a time, it was Joel Embiid's award. Once upon a time, maybe Anthony Davis would be in the conversation. These days,
That Serbian man got it.
kind of feels like the best passer is also the best scorer at his position.
It's so crazy how he just woke up and decided one day. He missed like, he was a
One day.
black hole
when
from the three-point
Calvin
line
Booth
last
started
year.
doing a wild job.
He was a black hole from the three-point line last year. He went out so incredibly sad against the Minnesota Timberwolves from that, and he rolled into this year and was like, you know what? I'm going to shoot 40% from three.
What did he shoot?
On
Black
five
Hole was a bit
attempts per
dramatic,
game.
but he didn't have a good shooting series for sure.
Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, that was a strategy. So, yeah.
Jokic is probably the best. Jokic has the best rim scoring touch in the NBA. He shoots 40% from three. He's the best post scorer with his strength. Without Joel Embiid in the conversation, I can't even think of who would be in number 2. Fucking Cat.
Listen, maybe last year in the playoffs, 26% from 3.
He was a black hole.
Yeah, it wasn't
terrible.
pretty, but
So seeing
regular
that
season wasn't that bad.
This year, he's fucking hooping, bro. It's different. Levels to it.
You want to argue for Karl-Anthony Towns?
No, I think Jokic is better.
I was about to say, please
You're
stop
going to take
this.
that New York
I was
disrespect?
about to say,
Is it
Donovan,
is it, is it disrespect
as
to
a
say that
fellow
Nikola Jokic is better?
podcaster, stop it.
I'm not. I
please.
didn't start.
Before you start, cut it.
Exactly.
I didn't do
Before
Take
you're
that
up,
mic.
get back down.
Unplug it.
I didn't do anything.
Before you're up, stay down. So we got Shea, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Nikola Jokic.
The game's about a bucket, and this is the most bucket you can get.
That's true.
Yeah, the only competition is shooting guard if you want to say D Mitch, but that's all intangibles and like not concrete because he hasn't had to do it. Or point guard if you want to argue Lucas still deserves the crown because you think he'll be fine. But it's pretty easy to say Shea. It's not exactly disrespectful.
I'm going Shea.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And nobody says Steph Curry's name. Unbelievable. Fucking haters.
He had a down year, but no worries. We still have him in our hearts. Deep down, we know he is one of them ones.
And with that being said, that's the end of the show. Nice long episode. We'll see y'all next week.